Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning show where I drink a cup of coffee and the super chat dictates the topics. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we're going to talk about a myriad of things. And while people slowly roll into the chat, we'll just say hey to everybody. And once we get a sizable amount of people in here, we'll start the main topic, the episode 9 stuff that comes from CNET. So this isn't some crazy fan site that's pulling stuff out of their ass. This is everything they know so far. We'll talk about that. I have a lot of fun this morning, and I got a lot of coffee to drink, so I'm going to get the energy really, really high. Thank you, Salazar Ravenclaw, for that nice compliment. And yep, it's different times in different parts of the world, but that's cool. It puts the world in world-class bullshitters because we're reaching everybody. So if it's time for bed, listen to the show. If you're having lunch, listen to the show. If you're like me and you're barely awake at 7:46 in the morning or 4:46 if you're in California, good morning and hello. 16 Rose Ticos at your local Walmart, huh? It's a lot of Rose Ticos. I'm sure Ethan has 10 times that amount. You know, the other day I jokingly said we should start a GoFundMe to buy all the Star Wars Episode 9 stuff and send it to Lucasfilm. And it seems like a better idea every single day. So, did you guys get a chance to check out last night's High Council? If you didn't, make sure you watch it. It was a lot of fun. We were on there discussing, sadly, Star Wars. We had our guest Jesse from Mindless Entertainment on, and I made the public announcement that we're going to have Doomcock next week. And that episode of the High Council will be here on World Class Bullshitters. So make sure that you guys are here for that next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Wow, Cecil, you are up early, dude. Last night needed more Cecil. Well, I didn't have any control of that. Maybe Cecil will pop up next week. I did finally get to see what Cecil looked like, so that was a revelation. Too bad I cannot share it. Oh, Toys R Us is closing down in Australia. That's sad. It happened here, and I'm really upset about that. But you know what? You come to terms with it eventually. The only sad thing for me is that my Toys R Us shares a parking lot with my gym. So I drive past my closed Toys R Us every single day. And it really, after a while, you become numb to it. But sometimes I'll be on the bike and I'll look over and I'll think, I bought Super Return of the Jedi there, or I bought this, or I bought that. So yeah, I always have memories at that specific location. And when I do shit from the shelf, my toy collection show, live stream, I'm going to talk about some stuff I got. And surprisingly, I remember where I bought stuff like 25 years later. So I have that kind of memory. So it looks like we have 230 people in there, so that's a good amount to start talking about the main topic. So everyone, press F if you're excited for Star Wars Episode 9, if that's the movie you cannot wait to see. I don't expect a lot of Fs to be pressed. There we go. By the way, folks, I'll be hosting a support group if you need help getting over your Toys R Us addiction like I did. Ooh, a super chat early. Thank you, Cameron Carlisle. But all of Disney's writers and all of Disney's shills couldn't put Star Wars together again. P.S. I want pictures of Jeremy's feet. Well, Cameron, I will take pictures of Jeremy's feet at Star Wars Celebration just for you. So all you have to do is wait until April, and you will get what you want. But no, the writers and the shills couldn't put Star Wars together again. I don't think they want to put it together. It's ego at this point, like we said last night. It's doing what they want to do, and they will pay people to bully people into sharing their same train of thought. So it's not that Star Wars magically broke and they're scrambling behind the scenes to fix it. They made these decisions, and publicly they're standing by them, and maybe privately there's some tension, but I wouldn't say that the writers are even trying to put it together. They are driven by the ideology, not the appeal of sharing a story for everyone. Hamster Snake, thank you and good morning. Happy late Father's Day, Jeff. Even though I'm older and we are of different races, I wish you could drop me some cash. I wish you could drop me some cash since you left. Since you've left, life's been tough. I'm so sorry your life's been tough. By the way, if I sound funny, I bit the shit out of my lip eating something before the show, so I got like a big lump, and it keeps hitting against my teeth. So I'm sorry if I sound funny this morning. But Hamster Snake, so sorry that you're upset that I left you. But no, thank you for that super chat, and thank you for those well wishes on Father's Day. I am not a father, thankfully, so I don't have to celebrate Father's Day. And yeah, I said have to, because I see all kinds of guys do stuff they don't want to do with their families on Father's Day. They barbecue, they do all this shit. And if they like to do it, awesome. Not saying that's wrong. But if I was a father, I want to sleep in on my Sunday and enjoy my day in bed. But when you're a father, you don't get to do that because, kids and responsibility. So, let's do... Or is everyone still here? Yeah, a lot more people here. Let's talk about the main subject. So, Star Wars Episode 9, release date, cast, director, and theories. All right, well, we're going to shoot some holes in these people's theories. It should be a lot of fun. So, I'm not going to really worry about this opening paragraph about the film, except that it's expected to start in late July. So, like I've said months ago when I told you guys to contact Disney and Lucasfilm, the movie hadn't been made yet. Share your concerns. Maybe it'll get them to change something. But the current climate shows that they don't. So, release date. When can I see Episode 9? Or in my case, when do I have to see Episode 9? So it comes out December 20th of 2019. That's 79 weeks in case we were wondering, which I don't think anyone was. It's like wondering when you're going to die. Eventually it's going to happen, but you're not excited about it. Who's the director? Obviously, it's J.J. Abrams, but originally Colin Trevorrow was tapped to helm the film. But he parted ways in September of 2017 over creative differences, just like Phil Lord and Chris Miller with Solo. So, ask yourself this question. Will we have a similar situation because Kathleen Kennedy can't keep these directors around? There's got to be some reason why they've had all this turmoil behind the scenes on these films. It's not like she has this proven track record. This is the beginning of her track record in charge of Lucasfilm, and it's been piss poor at best. Cast, who will be in it? AKA, who are we going to be forced to watch on the fucking screen? Well, obviously Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Kylo Ren, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o. So we get this more Maz Kanata. Yay. Rose Tico, Yunas Suwatomo is Chewbacca. So Peter Mayhew's done. Anthony Daniels is C-3PO, and Jimmy V is R2-D2. I guess Jimmy V is going to be the guy that controls the actual robot, but that's cool, whatever. But, we got a super chat. Let me go back because I don't want to forget that. First off, thank you. Good morning to Kenneth Johnson. Even though y'all are bullshitters, you guys are the most honest I've ever seen. Unlike self-righteous douche campy and corny collider shells, keep it up. Well, thank you, Kenneth. The name of the channel is a joke. Plus, it's meant to be memorable. Every time I tell somebody in public the name of the channel, World Class Bullshitters, they go, oh, I'll remember that. So I think a lot of times people see the name of the channel and they think it's one thing, but then they're kind of hit with the knowledge that we have and they go, huh. So that's an intended effect, but I'm glad you have stuck around and I appreciate that nice compliment. I don't ever want to be a self-righteous douche like John Campy because look what happens. You make it so far, almost to the top, but then the truth comes out and then everyone turns their back on you. So thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate that. Noah R., longtime listener, good friend of the show. Want to buy some death sticks? You got a coupon? Sure. Always want to save some money. I don't know why no one's hitting the like button, John. I wish more people would, but you know what? Yeah, everyone go hit that like button. There's no reason why. We got, 400 people watching right now? 447. Ooh, we're doing well today. Better than we did yesterday at the beginning of the show. So, yeah, folks, hit the like button. And if you want to share it, share it. The more this grows, like I said, I'm going to go to the store this weekend, and I'm going to find a way to get a phone for the show. And you guys can call it during show hours and ask questions and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And Common Writer, good morning or good evening to you from the Philippines. I had a friend from the Philippines. She was quite interesting. And Joel lived in the Philippines for quite a while. So if Joel's ever on the show and you hear us talking, ask him questions. He has been there. So we already know about. Okay, well, you know what? There was some sound coming out of this. Crap. Can you guys still hear that sound? Sorry about that. That kind of came out of nowhere. But back to this stuff. Ugh. So we have the plot. We really don't know the plot. We know that Rey is going to fight Kylo Ren again. We know that Leia's dead. We know Kylo Ren's going to maybe be redeemed. But let's talk about the rumors for a moment, because this is the part that I think you guys... oh, hold on. Eddie Max of Andor, thank you very much. Good morning. Hey, is Cecil secretly Mark Hamill doing a character voice? I wish Cecil was secretly Mark Hamill doing a character voice, because I like Mark Hamill. You know, I say I love Mark Hamill. Talented guy. I love Luke Skywalker. Joker just as much. I wish it was Mark Hamill, because then we'd have an insider connection to people like Harrison Ford and such. But no, Cecil is a guy. You know, he looks like he says he looks, and I can't wait to hang out with that dude. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm going to have an interview with Cecil when I meet him in Chicago or New York, depending on where he's going to be at the time. Will the phone receive MMS? I guess that's text messages and stuff. It's going to be, I'm just going to get a smartphone on a different carrier with an official World Class Bullshitters phone number. It'll be kept off during all hours of the day except during the hours on the air. If you're going to text us, make sure you have your name. So I'm not going to read your number on air, obviously, but you just send your name and your message, and I will do that. It'll be like a call-in show type of fun thing. Now, remember, though, those are going to be kind of hard to do, because if a lot of people text it at once and I don't read those, you know, other things like the super chat's going to pop up and stuff like that. So it just depends. Your best bet would be to call in, and if, you know, you're afraid to have your voice heard on air, I can, you know, keep it off air and talk to you. But we'll get to that next week. Like I said, I just want to do something fun and make it more engaging. Will it be a 1-900 number? Sure, 1-900 Mix-a-Lot. We'll kick them nasty thoughts together every morning. So let's talk about these rumors real quick. So it says, while The Last Jedi picked up immediately after The Force Awakens, it's possible there would be a jump in time before Episode 9. And this all comes from John Boyega saying he's growing out his hair for the movie. Well, that could mean many things. Yoda appears as a Force ghost, and an insider says that Yoda is returning for the 2019 movie. Well, you kind of need Yoda or some other character, because Lando's not a big enough draw, and Yoda was in the last movie, and that wasn't a big enough draw. And then we already talked about Billy D. Williams coming back as Lando yesterday. So we're not going to recover that, because that was kind of, you know, already talked about. Yeah, it could be 5 years later. You know, Darth Platypus, I would even say 1977 to 2015. Thank you, Kevithar1138. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the High Council last night. I have a great time every Tuesday. I don't just tell you guys that on air. Tuesday is the highlight of my week in terms of like nighttime streams. Ethan's a great guy. Jeremy's a great guy. And Jesse, just met her yesterday, but a lot of fun. So she's going to be sticking around for a little bit. And she brings a lot to the table. She brings a different perspective, but she also brings knowledge about this stuff, which is nice. That's the one prerequisite about the High Council or being on World Class Bullshitters or anything like that, is you got to know what you're talking about. I've had a lot of people want to do crossovers and stuff like that. And if you've noticed, the people I've had on the channel are very well-spoken people, and they're very well-versed in Star Wars or just entertainment. I thought Michael from Retro Blasting was a great fit on the channel. I thought Razor Fist and Mauler were great fits on the channel. Ethan Van Sciver, remember, before there was a High Council, he was a guest on World Class Bullshitters. So I do skim a little bit, like the people that want to be on the show, and sometimes I get requests for people, and I reach out and they don't come back or reach back. But in the case of Doomcock, the guy seemed very excited, so that's going to happen. Generic Edgelord, what is that bad? Oh, episode 9. It's going to be dumb. I mean, let's be honest. It's following up from one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Where do you go? Maybe if it's down, that'd be funny. Like maybe they take it into a Batman and Robin approach, they become self-aware and make it stupid. Okay, so you guys want me to talk about this Kathleen Kennedy stepping down thing because it's not happening. Look, I don't try to talk about rumor and innuendo, as they would say on the Bruce Pritchard show. What I do is I talk about stuff from fairly reputable sources. But if you want, everybody press F if you want me to pull up the article about Kathleen Kennedy's possible firing and why it's fake, and we'll talk about that. So, go ahead. Ugh. Oh, coffee is good. All right, we got an F. F. All right, good enough. You slap at the base. All right. Yeah, Brother Love. Somebody knows who Bruce Pritchard is. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, give me a quick moment. Let's pull up the Kathleen Kennedy thing. I'll stop reading articles about the GameCube controller, and I'll pull this up. Okay, so Kathleen Kennedy is not leaving Lucasfilm from Wired.com. Now, here's the thing. The 2019 or the September rumors are very strong and possible, but she hasn't I don't know exactly what's going down yet. I don't think anybody knows. And that's fine. Does she need to go? You damn right she does. No other executive would be given this much leeway to, ruin their brand. But Kathleen Kennedy does. And Ethan's convinced she's already been fired and that she's gonna they're not gonna announce it until later. Oh shit, press 69 if you want kendo. We're gonna have a lot of kendo tonight on our Batman 89 stream. So guys, if you're a fan of Batman 89 or just Batman in general, and even if you don't like Batman 89 and you want to tell us why, come hang out with us and watch the film. We're going to have a live watch party for a patron. That's one of the many perks of being a Patreon supporter of World Class Bullshitters. We don't just tell you thank you or tell you, oh, you get early access to something. No, we get you on the show. We get you involved. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that because we've had a lot of growth. So thanks to everyone that's been joining that. And if you are a certain level, get your schedule worked out with us, and let's have you on the show because that's going to be a lot of fun. And you should definitely try doing a live watch because a lot of people do. We did the Star Wars trilogy, going to do Back to the Future trilogy. It's going to be a good time. Okay, so here we go, talking about this Kathleen Kennedy article for Cantina Talk. Oh, because that's clever. No, Kathleen Kennedy isn't leaving Lucasfilm. Stick a fork in it. Solo, a Star Wars story is pretty much officially a flop. Pretty much officially a flop. Bitch, it's been a flop for... 3 weeks now? It never was a hit. Its performance hasn't improved since its unimpressive debut and shows no sign of getting a boost. Of course not. Incredibles are out now, or Incredibles 2 is out now. Jurassic World 14 or whatever the fuck it's called, that's out this coming weekend. I'm not going to see it. Star Wars is done. Like he said, stick a fork in it. So, is Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm? Source, random online gossip mongers. Not even slightly true. The real deal... Let's start with something that's quite clearly wishful thinking on the part of a number of Star Wars fans. For the last couple of weeks, there have been rumors that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Lucasfilm, and Kevin Feige is being named as a potential replacement. So here we go. This is how these people are deflecting from the possibility of Kathleen Kennedy being fired. They're taking the theories that people are putting out there, and they're giving the most absurd responses. Oh, Kevin Feige. I never once assumed that it was Kevin Feige that's going to replace Kathleen Kennedy. It's going to be Kiri Hart. That's stupid, but they also insulate themselves. Oh, you can't really criticize her. She's a black woman, or maybe she's a lesbian. I don't know who she is. My point is, putting someone like her only protects their ideology even more. So that's why a Kiri Hart would be put in there. They, like I said, I know Ethan disagrees. I don't think they care about money. There's something that they're trying to do. They're trying to set up the next generation of entertainment, be it lazy storytelling or weird agendas or what. I don't know. You may know. If you're from a different part of the world, tell me what you think of American entertainment and the infusion of these weird politics. I know the Chinese don't buy that shit. So if you're one of our listeners from abroad, tell us how you guys receive it in your ends of the world. So, Kelly, let's see. This is all kinds of stuff from Cantina Talk. So it's basically saying it's utter bantha wash. Get it? Because they're a Star Wars fan. Solo Star Wars stories underperforming, but that's just one failure after 3 of the most successful in recent memory. And Solo had extenuating circumstances, namely losing its original directors, which forced reshoots pretty much the entire movie. Well, who's this writer? Alberto E. Rodriguez? No, sorry, that is the person who took the photo. Graham McMillan. Well, Graham McMillan, remember, the film lost its original directors and had a ton of reshoots, not because of some outside sources or nature or an act of Zod. No, Kathleen Kennedy fired them because she doesn't know what the fuck she wants on film. So that's what happened, and it's her fault. We don't know. We're never going to know the whole story because the PR spin is strong with the Star Wars galaxy. It's more important for them to have control of the narrative than to have a good narrative. So let's place blame where it's due, and Kathleen Kennedy is the one. The idea that Kathleen Kennedy would be forced to step down after that, or the fans need to speak up to save her job, is ridiculous and betrays a particular myopia that fandom engenders the idea that fans know best and have the inside scoop because they love the property so much. Well, I'm not saying that fans know everything, but when people like Ethan, Jeremy, and I get people that we have to do a little research on, give us insider information, I'm not saying that makes us better for the movie, but it does give us a nice view. Wow, oh crap, okay, super chats, I almost missed these. Generic Edgelord, thank you and good morning. They were at the bottom in The Last Jedi. With Solo, they really got the shovels ready. Now with 9, they're going to dig so deep Star Wars won't see light again. You're not wrong. How do I say it like this? Or how do I phrase it properly? I'm going to laugh at how poorly they treat Star Wars. I mean, when I tell you guys stuff, I'm honest. I do love Star Wars. Listen to me watch the first movie, either drunk or sober. I'm really, really into it. It's just, it hits me on so many levels. Not like an emotional bringing you to tears level, but I'm focused, I'm dialed in 100%. I love to talk and watch that movie, but it's kind of hard to get me to say shit that's engaging because I'm so focused on the film. But they've strayed so far from the right side of, we'll just say the light side of the Force, because I don't want to make it a right-left politics thing. But they strayed so far, and if everyone was into it and we were such a small minority, we wouldn't have the reach we do. And you guys wouldn't be so passionate about it. Star Wars is a thing that reaches people early on from childhood. Disrespecting it, that's why people get angry. The fans do love it more than them, because for these people, it's just a job. If World Class Bullshitters was asked to cover the World Cup, it would just be a job for somebody like me. I would give you guys a professional broadcasting aspect on the World Cup, but I don't care about sports like that. So something like Star Wars or Bond or anything we talk about in terms of entertainment, I'm really passionate about, and I go the extra mile and care. And that's how you guys are too. Kathleen Kennedy and these people that write about it, they can claim to be a fan. They can use words like bantha wash, but it's just bantha poodoo. They're full of shit. And real quick, finally, we'll see where Kathleen Kennedy goes. Is it wishful thinking that she's fired? Yeah, but could she be behind the scenes? Ethan knows a lot of people from higher up positions, from being involved with movies, and he knows Jeff Johns and stuff like that, who has a direct connection to Richard Donner, the patron saint of world-class bullshitters. Guys got to understand it's all about saving face in corporate politics, and these people don't want us to know that type of stuff, but it's very obvious. So Wired.com, you're full of shit. Ooh, super chat from Kevithar1138. Jeff, with so many of the Disney opposition channels with crossover interest, is there a chance a collaborative studio for you guys if you keep growing? The studio, I will build a world-class bullshitter studio. The thing is, Ethan lives far, Jeremy lives far. We will always be, collaborating on the High Council and in spirit and stuff, and we're going to be getting together for Star Wars Celebration next year. There are possibilities that we do stuff where we make time to travel. We got to understand something too. Ethan and Jeremy both have families. I don't. And then well, I mean, like a family family, but I don't have my own kids or a wife or anything like that. And I don't think Jessie does either. So the more she gets involved with the channel, you know, I don't know anything about her, where she lives or anything like that, but it would be us going to them type of thing, because you can't really just up and leave your family for long periods of time. So Kevathar, we definitely will continue to do crossovers and find ways to engage you guys on video and stuff like that. And when we get together, we're going to have a hell of a time and make all kinds of great content for you. So I don't think there will ever be like a physical location, let's say, I don't know, in like Tennessee, where we all get together and film stuff. But we can, as we grow, we can make it a channel expense to get together and film stuff. So if you guys want more stuff like that, let us get to Celebration. We can't wait. Like, we're all excited to meet each other, and just have your minds blown then, and we'll definitely give you guys more. It's not just a one-time thing. Don't worry. Paul McBride, thank you and good morning. Enjoy the High Council. You could get into some great discussions, but it seems you spend more time reading super chats. Have you thought about a once a month just doing discussion show without chats? Well, Paul, the way we do the High Council is we rotate it on who does the super chat stuff. We have discussed bringing on, like, doing more stuff, but as of now, we're going to keep it the way we do. I would like to do more discussions, but if you guys want more in-depth discussions with us with the super chat thing, I mean, you can always come here. The High Council kind of has its own thing right now. We could always get together and do more videos, but it's just really working really well. We reach a lot of people. So, Paul, if any of your topics or anything have not been read on air, you guys can do, here's this. The High Council is going to stay the same. But now, not next week, because I'm going to be in charge of reading the chats and all that good stuff. But you can tweet me during the High Council and, using like a hashtag Ask High Council or something, and I'll try to get that in there. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to keep it in there. It's fun. It's going to help us build the studios and do stuff independently and help our channels grow like that, because I got a website coming and that costs some money with all that crap. But my point is, if you guys want to get certain things said, just tweet me on the weeks where I'm not hosting, and I'll try to do I'll try to read the super chats as well as the Twitter and all that other stuff. So thank you, Paul, for that. Jessie doesn't add anything. I think she was nervous last night. Now, next week, we're going to have Doomcock on, so I guess we're going to either be 4 or 5 with her if she comes back. She was very nice. I think she did, like I said, I think she was a little nervous, but we're going to give her another shot, because people react differently to nerves. But if you check out her channel, she does have a lot of good stuff to say. Remember, guys, ultimately, you control not the super chat. You guys control the High Council. So, we listen to you. It's all about the fan engagement and stuff like that. We make it fun. I know everybody says bring in Cecil, and I like Cecil, but our best discussions have come without Cecil. And if you guys want a really good show next week that's going to be more in-depth, we're going to have Doomcock, and make sure you check out his channel. I think it's Overlord DVD. That dude knows his stuff. He's very passionate. He's like one of you guys, and you're not going to regret that. So don't worry. I'll be taking care of Super Chat next week, and I'll make sure that we get a nice blend. Have you noticed, if you go back and listen to my interview with Retro Blasted Mauler and Razor Fist, that I would go for periods of time, and I would hold the backlog of Super Chats, and then I would read them and we'd answer them. So tell me how you guys think I handle it next week, because they're going to come in, and we're going to read them and stuff like that. But I know a good medium for that, so trust me, in the words of Indiana Jones. Oh, I know Doomcock hates Star Trek Discovery. Shamaniac, thank you very much, and good morning. Add Cecil for like a half an hour. It's gold. Well, since I control the High Council next week, I may invite Cecil at the end. I like Cecil. Cecil, I feel bad for him when everyone says, I want you to fucking die. But, I mean, Cecil, here's the thing. Cecil's drunk. We got to give him a pass, I guess. It seems like a lot of people are getting excited for Doomcock next week. Really, you should. Yeah, STDs do suck. But I'm glad you guys are very passionate about the High Council. It's a lot of fun, and it really does expose us to other segments of like Ethan's channel or Jeremy's channel or Jesse's channel in terms of audience growth, and it helps us all. And I don't mean just the 4 or 5 of us, but like all the listeners, all the fans. It helps like our word spread. So it's a good thing for everybody. And here we got a super chat from Wild Warlock. Good morning. Can I wash my Winky in your kitchen sinky? Little Nicky or Adam Sandler live hate watch party would be fun. That could happen. As of now, we're doing the patron requests plus like fun movies. So we actually have stuff to talk about. Because like if we were to do an Adam Sandler movie that was like Little Nicky, I've only seen the movie 1 or 2 times. And I remember Reese Witherspoon being kind of hot. And that's about it. And Popeye's chicken is the shiznit. So I remember all that. Those 2 lines. Adam Sandler movies, yeah, I like The Wedding Singer and stuff like that. Big Daddy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. So if I do indulge in an Adam Sandler live watch party, it would be stuff like that, not necessarily Jack and Jill, because I can't handle Dunkachino or any of that crap on film. So thank you for that, Wild Warlock. And yes, you can use the kitchen sinky to wash your Winky anytime. Just tell me when you're done so I don't have to see anything. Waterboy was good. I really do like the Waterboy. I forgot to mention it. Waterboy is in my top 5 Adam Sandler films. Klaus Torek, thank you very much. What's y'all problem with Texas? I don't have a problem per se with Texas, but I've never had a good time in Texas. So you can blame me. Texas has many great things. It has In-N-Out Burger, but the highways are just too damn big over down there. They have a big population, but we were accosted by a man with AIDS, and I'm not saying that in a joking way. True story. Dion and I were down for WrestleMania 2016, so I've been WrestleMania 32 with Dan. We're on the street corner in downtown Dallas, and this guy comes up to Dion and says, "Hey, I used to be your size about 6 months ago." And Dion responds with, "Oh yeah, what'd you do to lose all this weight?" He goes, "I got AIDS." And he comes walking towards us a little closer, and we just bolted out of there. It was, like I said, I've never had a good time in Texas, but that's just me. So if you live in Texas, don't take it personally. I love King of the Hill. I like your barbecue culture. We had the best tacos ever in Texas. Velvet Taco, is that it? I don't know. I don't dislike the state, but I'll stand with my statement. I've never had a good time in Texas. That's just me, though. Now, back to the High Council super chat thing, because people are talking about it. If you notice on this show, I try to give you guys a more personal experience with the super chats. Not that the High Council's not appreciative, but if you notice, like, I try to go into depth. Like, when somebody asks a multi-tiered question, I'll spend time on it. I think that works great in, in that kind of thing. And like I said, just next week, it's going to happen because the audience that listens to the High Council is way bigger than what listens to the morning show. And I'm not really advocating for change at all. But don't worry. Like I said, I will get you guys more engaged with the topics. We do have a list of topics, and Ethan and Jeremy and I always discuss that stuff off air, but we don't want to really neglect the people that have taken the time and frankly have given money to have their voices heard and to help support the channel. I think there's just a little bit of mutual respect there. You guys do that for us, and we have to read back for them because, it's the right thing to do. So thank you, Craig Thompson. You can't just ignore him. It's kind of a douchey thing to do, and we don't really want to be douchey. We'll just make the show longer. The High Council will be longer, and it'll be archived for you guys. So like last night, the High Council went close to 3 hours. I personally think that High Council works best at 2 hours, and we're done. But with the growth in the stream of super chat and stuff, we just have to read it for the guys or for everyone. So don't worry, we'll find a nice way. Have I seen Titan AE? I remember the commercial for Titan AE. That's the movie that had the Creed song "Higher" on it. Which if you're a fan of Creed, I'm sorry, but man, fuck Creed. I hate that band so much. I'll never forget. Was it 2000 and late 90s? I just hated hearing all their music, especially with "Arms Wide Open." I can't stand that fucking song. I don't mean to shit on anyone's morning, but my God, I can't stand that. No, I will not take you higher. I will check out the movie though. I'm thinking of Treasure Planet with Michael J. Fox. Let me look up Titan A. I'm positive I'm aware of the movie, and I'm positive that I'm thinking of the right movie trailer. But that's the. By the way, thank you. Respect Whammon. I crack you up. I appreciate that. It makes it a lot of fun to know I'm entertaining you guys, because I started this last week as just a thing. I pulled it out of my ass. I thought I'll go live and hang out with the fans in the morning, and it worked out really great. So as you can see, I've been getting up early as hell just to do this, and as long as people are watching, I'm going to continue to do it. So Titan AE, yeah, Matt Damon, Drew Barrymore, Bill Pullman, fuck yeah, Bill Pullman, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, Janine Garofalo, and Ron Perlman. What a cast! You know, whatever happened to Janine Garofalo? I know I'm slightly older. I'm 29, so I'd say our average listener is what? Maybe you guys like 22 or 3. And we have some older listeners. Let's say I'm right in the middle of the age for the people that listen to the show. If you grew up in the 90s, you remember Janine Garofalo. She was like that woman that was sarcastic and who was in everything. It was she showed up in everything from Home Improvement to a bunch of movies to all kinds of shit. And I liked her, but then she just disappeared or got older or what. I don't know what Janine Garofalo is doing nowadays, and I don't think you guys really care. But she got fat and bitter. Oh, god damn, that's cold-blooded. Another super chat from Wild Warlock. Thank you. What's your favorite bread? What's the best fruit? What could you add bacon to, and then it becomes worse? Another multi-layered question for you. Well, thank you, Wild Warlock. First off, what's my favorite bread? My favorite bread is rye bread. I enjoy it. Let's see. But I don't like it with French toast, or as French toast, because, ew. What's the best fruit? Oranges or pineapple? What could you add bacon to, and then it becomes worse? I mean, you could obviously say shit, and that's just, but let's see. What would you add bacon to that would make it taste bad? Let's see. What don't I like? I hate cauliflower, and bacon with cauliflower is just cauliflower. Ugh. I do enjoy eating all kinds of stuff, but cauliflower, ugh, I have a feeling people are going to bring me cauliflower at Star Wars Celebration now. I'm just going to throw it away. Thank you for that multi-layered question, though. What is your favorite bread, Wild Warlock? What's your favorite fruit? And what do you like to add bacon to that would make it worse? I mean, I care. Tuna. Your least favorite food is tuna? I eat a lot of tuna here. Bacon, mayonnaise. Thank you, Gamer Leroy Experiment 629. I guess we're in the same time zone because it's 8:23 here as well. And thank you for spending your morning with us. Well, me. And Kendo's in the chat helping out. So remember, world-class bullshitters, you may listen to me talk, and I appreciate that. And I do write the videos and stuff, but the other guys really do help the whole experience. I mean, Kendo helps with the chat and engages with a lot of the listeners. Nick does all the social media, and Dion brings his A game to the show every week. So the four of us that you listen to on the podcast, it is a group effort for the podcast, and just a shout out to those guys for helping make that happen. Astro Walker, thank you and good morning. Are channels like Hello Greedo that are muted towards Disney going to have to adapt to the growing shift of the fan base? World Class Bullshitters, Geeks and Gamers, EVS have grown so much. Astro Walker, I'm going to say yes. Let me tell you why. Notice what John Campea and Jeremy Jahns have done. Now, John Campea has always been a shill, always will be a shill. It's his job. He's in marketing. He's in advertising for a movie studio. He just calls himself a movie critic. Jeremy Jahns was always kind of afraid. Well, not always afraid. Let me put it like this. Jeremy Jahns was very afraid to review The Last Jedi if it's good or bad, stuff like that. The tide has changed, and those people don't want to become irrelevant or obsolete, as they say in The Twilight Zone, which... Every day I'm going to tell you guys to go watch The Twilight Zone because we're living in it currently. If you go look out in the world, I'm not going to get into the politics aspect, but the politics are fucked. We're talking about a space force. You talk about entertainment. We're worried about weird shit in entertainment that doesn't represent anybody. So there's that. But you do have to grow and adapt to your fan base because if if I started talking about Star Trek or something, I would alienate my fan base. If they keep talking about certain things, they're going to alienate their fan base too. Now, I don't think you need to go against your convictions, like what you believe in. You need to stick with what you believe in. I believe in this, and I always have, and I always will. I don't know what they believe in, though. I'm just going to use John Campea as they. Take Jeremy Jahns out of that. I was talking about his review. But they, in terms of the John Campios and the Colliders and those type of people, like, I don't know what they believe in because, like I always say in these videos, their opinions are bought and paid for. They're not necessarily, they're just not honest about stuff. Like, and the funny thing is, they come from these places of perceived moral superiority, and then they try to make jokes about guys like us, Geeks and Gamers, EVS, and myself. But then we're the ones that are blowing their shit out of the water in terms of views and reach. And it's not like we're doing something, underhanded or dirty or buying views or crap like that. We're hitting a group of people that are genuinely emotionally invested into this stuff, and that's how it works. And now they're trying to do it, but they have a long history of failure. Not even failure, a long history of going against what a certain group of people are interested in. And when they go to try to switch it up and do the opposite, it's disingenuous. So I think Hello Greedo and channels like that, they'll have to adapt to a degree. I think they need to stop kissing ass and saying how great Lucas and Disney is and how great everything's going, because we can tell about, we can see the numbers. We know what's going on left and right. But I don't know. I want them. It's not that I want everyone to have the same opinion as me. I don't, because the world would be boring. I want them to stick with what they believe in, but believe in it for honest reasons. That's the best answer I think I can give you guys without writing an essay on it. Edward Coleman, thank you very much, and good morning. KK and Ryan Johnson are to Star Wars as OJ is to healthy marriage. Goddamn. The only difference is OJ can get away with killing a healthy marriage. Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson will not get away with it, because there are millions of people that give a shit. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. There are millions of people that give a shit. I mean, me alone, I had a video about Kathleen Kennedy and the fan backlash. It's almost reached 1 million views in 3 weeks. So people do care about the subject. It's not a small fringe minority. If you notice the way these articles are written about us, and I don't mean just the four of us. Well, Ethan and I, all of us. I mean, like us. They say the small minority, this angry, vocal fan base. We are angry, we are vocal, but we're not that small of a minority. If everyone was eating this shit up left and right, Star Wars The Last Jedi would have made more money than The Force Awakens. Solo would have not been a failure. So maybe one of these days I'll put out a video that helps you identify show media. Because last night on the High Council, Ethan and I, well, not Ethan and I, but we were discussing the army of shills that could be coming for us. And it's very easy to take down an army of shills. It's easy to pick out phrases they use, the tactics they use. We can just make you guys aware of that and basically discredit them before they get any steam. I wasn't trying to sound egotistical on last night's show, but we're going to do what we believe in. I think your belief in something genuine always is going to outweigh like a company paying you to spout a certain thing. Plus, we believe in it because we feel it. We don't believe in it because we feel pressured to believe it. Good morning, Wild Warlock. Thank you again. They are just corporate ties that have leached into this platform through sucking up. I used to watch Screen Junkies years ago, but it's overproduced shit. Yeah, you're 100% right, Wild Warlock. Screen Junkies is overproduced shit. I got into it a couple years ago as well when I was studying to be a comic book artist, which I've talked about, and I'm going to put out an Indiegogo, much like Cyberfrog, for a comic book. I don't want to tell you guys the title yet because I want to officially announce it, but it's going to be funny as shit. And it's not a comic book, but it's a satire. But I used to listen to Screen Junkies while I would work for hours. I would listen to movie fights while I would draw, and I'd get so into it. And I stopped watching them because after a while, you kind of pick up the agenda and all the shit they say. It's about like I don't know. They're afraid to say certain things, and they back off of certain topics, and certain things are verboten there. And it's not even like bad things that are verboten. It's just like dumb shit. So I stopped watching them too. They are overproduced. I used to like Hal Rudnick. I could never stand Anne Signore. He was always a very bad, biased judge. And I'm just going to say it. He always gave the women on the show benefit of the doubt. For example, a guy couldn't answer a question in the 10 seconds he failed, but he gave this one guy, Trisha, was it Eckberg or something, like Hertzberg, gave her like 45 seconds. Like, I don't want to end the show like this. I don't want to end the show like this. So I don't know. That was the reason. It wasn't even about a men-woman thing. It was just about the guy's a bad judge, so I stopped watching it. And then all their lists are fucking terrible, and the people they get are fucking terrible. And another reason that I stopped watching the Screen Junkies is that it turned me off from Chris Stuckman. I know a lot of people dislike that guy, and that's fine. You guys can have your own opinions on whatever. But when I watched him go on movie fights and defend Tomorrowland with the phrase "It's Brad Bird, it's Brad Bird," meaning it's going to be great, I went and saw it. It was fucking terrible. So no longer does the phrase "It's Brad Bird" mean anything positive to me. Anything that Chris Stuckman says doesn't matter to me, and I just stopped watching Screen Junkies. That seemed either, I'm not saying that statement from Chris Stuckman was corporately produced, but it was very misguided, and that was on a big platform, and they're not real personable. They feel like you're watching a low rent Entertainment Tonight and not the Canadian Variety. Stuckman is a shill. Chris Stuckman sucks. A lot of people are saying that. He's stuck up. He's got it in his name. I don't know. I don't find him funny anymore or entertaining. I never found the only time I ever listened to one of his reviews and was like really happy with what he had to say was his Spider-Man, when he said, "Where does the Green Goblin costume looking like a Power Ranger come from?" It's something the internet has discussed about. So, thank you. You missed the High Council last night. Was Jessie bad or something? No, she wasn't bad at all. The show was fine. It really was a good show. We had a lot of people. We're growing each week, and we're able to do a lot of cool stuff because of the growth. Like I said, guys, we're going to keep it the way we are because we got some big stuff planned for you in Chicago, and we're building towards that. So everything the High Council does is the build up towards that show. That's the first phase. That's our Avengers. Each time we do a show, it's our Iron Man or. Well, Iron Man was the best of phase 1. So just imagine it's a new movie of Iron Man every week. It's not Iron Man 2. Yeah, Dan Murrell is creepy. I agree with that 100%. But I do like his I liked his views on a lot of stuff, and he was always fun to listen Andy rip into. Or have him rip into Andy. Yeah, Astro Walker, Chris Stuckman's reviews are safe. It's funny how safe can turn off people. Like Eric Bischoff said, controversy creates cash. I'm not saying you need to give The Last Jedi an F to get people to watch your reviews, but when you're so bland and you basically jump around points is not to say anything bad. It's like the way they reviewed this new Ocean's 8 movie. No one ever said, they say it's funny and it's fun and it's this and that, but it's really not a good movie. They basically preface all these positives so people look at that and think, oh, this is great, and then they get to it and they're like, oh, I guess it's just kind of a middle of the road movie. And I don't know how well that movie's doing. Somebody says you loved the Incredible Hulk the most from the MCU with phase 1. I almost said wave 1. This isn't his toy line. I like the Incredible Hulk. That movie came out on my 20th birthday on DVD. I was in college. I took the bus from Michigan State up to the Meridian Mall to pick it up. I really do enjoy that film. Then I ordered pizza. Zorant Zero, thank you and good morning. Speaking of dropping people, are there any directors you have permanently dropped? For me, I won't be watching anything Rian Johnson, Paul Feige, and maybe J.J. Abrams. Well, I'm going to say that all three of your answers are my answers, but let me give you some more as to give you some variety and some entertainment this morning. Directors I refuse to watch. I will not watch anything, and this is going to be controversial. I don't like Joss Whedon that much. I know he directed the first Avengers and the second one, but I don't really like the Whedon stuff that he creates. So maybe unless he's directing a property based on something I'm already a fan of, I'm not going to watch it. I didn't get into Buffy or any of those things. Those weren't my cup of tea. They weren't my jam if you were alive in the 90s. Ava DuVernay, well, I won't watch A Wrinkle in Time, and I'm not going to watch the New Gods film. I feel like she was a publicity casting or hire for the director's job because they thought A Wrinkle in Time was going to be this thing, and they were using it to deflect from the fact that it was a fucking failure. Michael Bay. I like certain Michael Bay movies, but Michael Bay is not a name that's going to keep me from watching a movie. Like, I'm not going to, well, he doesn't do Transformers anymore, I don't think, and I don't even like those movies. But I like Pain and Gain. I love Bad Boys 1 and 2. The Rock. Those are all fun movies that I enjoy. Josh Trank is another director I'll skip. I think Chronicle's overrated as shit. I've seen that movie 2 times. I was impressed enough the first time. Watched it the second time. I was like, what is this going on? I mean, it's not Skyline bad, because that movie Skyline's the worst movie I've ever seen. But I don't know. I think Josh Trank is overrated. And that Fan Four Stick movie was unwatchable. I did turn it off partway through. It was on. Where was I? Oh, we were on vacation. And Loudy has a jailbroken Fire Stick. And we tried watching it and turned it off. Went back to drinking. So thank you, Vacation, for the drinks. And you saved me and spared me from that atrocity. I don't know. Other directors I'll skip. You know what? Outside of View Askewniverse stuff, I won't watch Kevin Smith movies anymore. I don't think he's funny anymore. I tried watching. No, I did watch. I watched. What was the one with the Bratzies? The Yoga Hosers. That movie was fucking terrible. Tusk is fucking terrible. I'm not going to watch Moose Jaws. I'm not going to spend any of my time watching his garbage. That's just bad entertainment. I am tied to Jay and Silent Bob. I do love that shit. But I'm not going to give anything new he does a chance, especially his DC on TV work. Planet Musk Vlog, thank you very much and good morning. You just coined the phrase, weed. Weed. There we go. If I could get away with putting that on a shirt, I would. Weed. I know people would wear that. People wear anything. Believe me, I know. I have a Berserker t-shirt, so I will watch anything. Tusk was messed up. You're still a fan of Kevin Smith. Remember, guys, you can have differing opinions from me, and I like that because it gives us a dialogue and opens up a discussion. I'm all for that. So, don't ever be afraid to say, I disagree with you, Jeff. I mean, you're not Dion. You don't have to agree with me. You're not paid to agree with me. Cowabunga, thank you and good morning. I love the High Council. No disrespect to Jeremy or Ethan, but World Class Bullshitters is the best channel, man. The topics are diverse and never dull. Keep up the good work. Well, Cowabunga, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for that nice boost in my ego. I think the High Council works because we all come together. We're like the Megazord from Power Rangers, So somebody's the arms, the legs, the Dragon Zord, and all that other shit, depending on which formation. But I do appreciate that. I remember, though, Jeremy and Ethan have families. They have responsibilities outside. Ethan was a big comic book artist. And, I mean, I don't think people understand this. He was like the number 2 guy at DC. Like, when you talk about quality of work and name recognition and stuff, Ethan Van Sciver, I knew him years ago. I mean, I've always been a fan of his work. I always considered him like what's the name I'm looking for? The guy that drew the Killing Joke, Brian Boland. Like, realism is their style, and everything they do looks really good and professional. So when I had him on, I was really excited. I wanted to talk about comics, but he wants to talk about Star Wars and stuff like that. But no, they have lives. This is really it for me. Like, I'm really focused on building the channel and doing all kinds of stuff. It's very nice when people like you tell me things like this. And, I'm glad you support World Class Bullshitters. I put 100% effort into all the videos I pump out there. And, I appreciate that. It's really worth it. Like, some stuff that I make takes a lot of time that you wouldn't think. Like the Man Baby Fallacy took a long time to make. Other stuff, it's a lot easier to produce certain videos, but it still takes hours and hours to do. So if you've noticed too, as my channel has grown, I put in more time and put out more content of a higher quality. So, I'm not just taking whatever money I make and buying dumb shit and doing it. I'm punting it right back into the channel. So like when I say a studio for World Class Bullshitters, I mean it. Taking better care of myself so we can go out and film stuff and, longevity. It's like preventative healthcare and all that crap. I just want to do this for a long time, and I'll give it my all. And people are like, oh, I hope you don't get burned out, take a break here or there. I love doing it so much that burnout's not really a thing. I mean, we're talking about entertainment and having a good time. So thank you, Cowabunga, and thank you to everybody who's watching this. I mean, we're doing really well right now. Let's see where we're at. We're at 899, so 900 people are watching this. I mean, we're double last week's numbers already in terms of who's watching the live streams in the morning. So thank you. Another one from, let's see, Wild Warlock. Off topic again. Who's your favorite wrestler? Mine was Mankind. Favorite match? Mine is Undertaker versus Mankind Hell in a Cell from 98. Well, it's about to be the 20th anniversary. Wild Warlock. Wild Warlock, my favorite wrestler is The Rock. I've been a fan of wrestling for about 20 years. The Rock has always been my favorite. I will never have another favorite wrestler. I've traveled thousands of miles to watch The Rock wrestle in person. I've watched most of his matches. I'm just a super fan. I'd love to meet The Rock, but I want to meet The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson. I never refer to him as Dwayne Johnson. He's always The Rock. I mean, even at almost 30, I got a shelf in my office with nothing but like Rock action figures and a poster and all that shit. And I'm not embarrassed. The Rock was the coolest thing ever. He was like a real life superhero, and he would kick ass and talk shit, and I loved it. My favorite match was either from a bias standpoint. My favorite match is probably when The Rock beat Triple H for the title at Backlash, because that was the first time I ever saw him win the belt. I was a big fan of that. Unpopular opinion, I like The Rock versus John Cena 1. Why? Because I was there. And if you ever want to see what I really look like, go watch that match. And when Mike Chioda hugs The Rock, it fades out to a crowd shot, and the first person they show is me. Trust me, I've watched it 30 times myself. So that is one of my favorite matches just from that. But I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan. I've met Shawn Michaels, nice dude. He's fantastic. I love his Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 25. Side note, I've been to every WrestleMania since WrestleMania 22, so I've seen a lot of live matches, a lot of classics. Couple questions. Okay, so first off from Aaron Kidd, thank you and good morning. Keep speaking the truth and nothing but good will come from it. Thank you, Aaron. I'm that's the thing I can give you guys, honesty. Notice when we talk about rumors, I say that's a rumor. I believe me, I want certain things. I would love for Kathleen Kennedy to step down and get new lifeblood injected into Star Wars and all that. But until then, it hasn't happened yet, and we gotta wait and see. There's other ways to make engaging content without lying, and I'm not saying anything bad about the other guys in the High Council. There's one channel out there, and it's not one of the guys from the High Council that puts that in their videos every day, and I look at it and I go, I subscribe to you to support you because you're a very nice person, but Kathleen Kennedy has not been let go. Like, please stop putting that in the title of every one of your videos. But you know what? That's for them to deal with, and I'm not ever going to try to tear them down. We're seeing a lot of love for some Stone Cold. Stone Cold's cool. I really respect Stone Cold more as an adult than I did as a kid. One thing, I got into wrestling when Stone Cold and Undertaker were both injured, so I got into it in November of 99, and The Rock was the guy, and I was just blown away. I thought it was awesome. Thank you, Modern Life Dating. You love me from Japan. I can't wait to go to Japan. One day we'll hang out, we'll get a beer, and I will just go to your toy stores, and I'll buy way too much crap because that's who I am. Somebody earlier asked me 48 Hours or what was the other movie? 48 Hours or something. And I'm trying to answer that question because I wanted to talk about it. If you ask me the 48 Hours question, ask me again down below so I can catch up to it. Kurt Angle is your favorite, Cecil. Good choice. Respect the Olympic hero. Kind of feel bad for him because he can barely move nowadays, but that's neither here nor there. What was another one that somebody posted about that I wanted to answer? Rock and Sock Connection. Yeah, that's my favorite tag team. I fucking love them. I play them in the game all the time. And yeah, I play wrestling games. Oh, please rewind from Super Smash Bros. Candidates. I talked to that guy, the Pat guy, right? I've contacted him. He's emailed me back, so we're going to make that happen, guys. I'm going to have him on the channel. We're always about getting you guys more guests, especially on here, so I can do sit-down interviews, more in-depth type of things. We'll make it live so you guys can ask questions, and but we always are able to, keep it engaged. Let's see. I'm trying to find that one question. How many Jessies do you think you could beat up? I wouldn't beat up Jessie. I don't know her. Here's the thing. I know she's a lot smaller than me. I'm not gonna punch her in the face, but I can easily pick her up and I can move all the Jessies out of the way. Assassin Warrior. Hello from Japan. Even here, Star Wars toys don't sell. Huh. I didn't realize we had a reach in Japan. I look at the analytics. We reach a lot of Europe, but I never realized we'd reach Japan. I'm kind of happy about that. Japan's cool in my book. Like I said, I'd love to visit there. Now, you guys in Japan have these SH Figure Arts toys from Bandai or Bandai. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to say Bandai like they did on the commercial here. Those are like $70 to import, but in Japan, I think they're like $40 or $30 US. If I ever go to Japan, I'm just going to load up on that shit. My first exposure to Japanese culture, like most of you, was video games, Super Mario, Zelda. You would watch cartoons that were anime and you didn't know it. Like, I wasn't alive in the 60s, obviously, but my mom used to watch Speed Racer and stuff like that, and no one knew that was anime. They just were like, oh, it's a cartoon. So I always find it interesting that prior to like mid to late 90s with the Dragon Ball Z explosion and a lot of the anime shows that took off here, like a lot of people were exposed to anime and Japanese culture and they weren't even aware of it. So thank you for being a fan from there. And I can't believe this. Well, I can believe the Hasbro Star Wars stuff wouldn't sell. You guys have a much richer culture in terms of entertainment. Look how many American people stop reading American comics, or people from all over the world stop reading American comics or watching American cartoons or Western cartoons and watch anime or read manga. Like, there's a reason why Japanese culture in terms of entertainment is so broad. It appeals to everyone. I think the Japanese entertainment still kind of hits that. It's not primordial levels, not the word I'm looking for. Hits that like hits you in the gut type of level where you're like, oh, I feel that, I get that, I can relate to that kind of stuff. Zaire, thank you and good morning. Do you think Finn would have been an interesting character if he refrained from shooting stormtroopers and always found another way to stop them? Yes, I do. I think Finn had the propensity to be the most interesting Star Wars prequel character, not prequel, excuse me, Star Wars sequel character out of all of them. But I think because of the forced humor, and I think because he just so willingly jumped in with the Rebel Alliance surrogate that he kind of lost some of his edge. Remember, he wanted to run away. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to do that. But he kind of just, once Han and everybody got involved, he just bought into the cause. I think it would have been interesting if he kind of had a moment of like, am I still going to stick with these people when they went to Starkiller Base and stuff like that? Let's use Han Solo as an example. Han Solo was all in on the Death Star to save Princess Leia for two reasons: money and survival. But once they escaped, he was like, I'm taking my money and leaving. To me, that's interesting. All of a sudden something happens and you're all of a sudden a good guy, you're a hero. No, you still have to follow your basic operations of your character development or your character, and then you develop into something new. That's why I always say Han Solo is so interesting in that first Star Wars movie. Listen to the dialogue. Listen to him talking about how he goes, hokey religions and ancient weapons and all this shit. And then by the end of the movie, he's telling Luke, may the Force be with you, because he cares. And then he comes back and saves the day at the Death Star. Like, that's really good movie making and really good storytelling. And Finn had the propensity to be that guy. I mean, you should have had that Han Solo moment where the heroes were down and it was Finn that came, to the rescue or something. And I think they cut out a good moment when he fights Captain Phasma in The Last Jedi, and they made it, they took up the violence because he cut off her hand and stuff like that, and they kind of ruined it. They changed that. You have the ability to make these characters great, but you choose not to, and that's why we're angry, not because of the color of their skin. I wish they'd get off of that, because they're failing on that, because we've shown a diverse group of people. And I don't mean diversity for diversity's sake. If you go to our Facebook page, we have men, we have women, we have people from every walk of life, every color, parents, non-parents, like everything. So this whole angry white incel theme that they try to throw at people, these pejoratives, just don't work. And we're the proof of that. And, if we all stick together and continue to make communities like this grow, we can change it with positivity towards like, hey, we want a better story. We don't not want black people in movies. We just want better stories. That's the message. Wild Warlock, thank you. I would rather look at a rotting roadkill kangaroo than keep looking at Kathleen Kennedy. Please change your screen to something positive. Okay. You know what, guys? I will change it to Lethal Weapon. That's what somebody has. Lethal Weapon or 48 Hours. Fucking Lethal Weapon all day, every day. I love that movie. Dion used to tell me, thank you, Paul McBride, for that super chat. I appreciate that. Now I see it. I just remembered because somebody said Lethal Weapon. It stuck in my mind. But Paul McBride officially reminded me. I remember watching Lethal Weapon as a kid, and I always thought of Lethal Weapon as the movie with the guy that had a mullet. And I had never met a single person with a mullet that I liked. So I always had this stupid idea of Lethal Weapon. Then 2 years ago, maybe we'll just say last year, Dion's like, hey, you really need to watch Lethal Weapon. So they were all on Netflix. And I sat down in one day and I watched them all. I was blown away. I mean, really blown away. I absolutely loved the shit out of it. 48 Hours is a fine movie, but if you guys know me, even from the show or in real life, I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan. So it's kind of hard to say or discredit 48 Hours, but I'm a Beverly Hills Cop guy all the way. And if you were to say Beverly Hills Cop versus pretty much anything, I'm going to say Beverly Hills Cop because it's one of my all-time favorite flicks. I love it. I swear by it. It's a fantastic movie. And if you guys haven't seen it, give it a chance. Watch it. If you don't like it, give it another viewing. I mean, realistically, it's a fucking strong movie that is underrated. I actually got a video coming out soon. I'm going to put on Patreon. Beverly Hills Cop. the forgotten blockbuster. So there's something more positive, guys. How's that for now? Brandon Horn, thank you and good morning. What do you think of My Hero Academia or One Punch Man? Have you looked at either? Well, Brendan, excuse me for calling you Brandon. Brendan Horn. I obviously know who One Punch Man is. You kind of can't avoid that nowadays with memes and stuff like that. And then there's a Captain America video I like with One Punch Man in it. I haven't watched any of those, though. I've never even heard of My Hero Academia. I don't, like I said, I don't really watch a lot of anything anymore. The channel kind of takes over a lot of my time. I play on my piano a little bit, and I don't even play games anymore. So I haven't had a chance to watch any of that stuff. When I do watch stuff, maybe I'll watch a Twilight Zone here or there. Or I'll watch Star Wars or something, because I don't want to sound hokey when I say this, but sometimes when I'm making these videos and I need to have a reason why to continue sometimes, obviously the fans are great and really are a big thing. But sometimes I watch Star Wars and I think to myself, what did I love about this? And then I watch it and I remember, oh yeah, all these things. And then then I'm even more motivated to talk about it at great length. So I haven't seen either of those, Brendan. I'll check them out down the road. If they're on the Crunchyroll app or Funimation app, Dan, that used to be on the show, has those. So if we're ever over at Phil's drinking, I can pop in something and check them out. That's kind of hard for me not to watch Golgo 13 or Lupin the Third, because those are my favorite. I really like anything that's like James Bond, I'll watch. It all comes back to that. Do I think Neil Adams is a better artist than Ethan Van Sciver? Ooh, I love answering art questions. Okay, first off, let me tell you a story. I worked for Neil Adams at a convention here in town. Neil Adams pays incredibly well. He pays you $15 an hour to work at his booth. He's not very nice, though. Is he a better artist? He's more influential than Ethan Van Sciver. Now, are we taking Neil Adams at his best and EVS at his best? Real quick before I answer that, David Lynch was going to direct Return of the Jedi, but that fell apart. But Neil Adams has the impact. EVS doesn't. But Neil Adams is a tracer as well. Like, I know a lot of people don't know that or care, but Neil Adams even told us, like, if you listen to the Kevin Smith podcast, he talks about tracing. I'm not saying that makes him a bad artist. It helps him. He's really had a lot of impact. But I've watched Ethan draw. I've watched Neil draw too. That's really unfair to say. They're both really great. It's like, let's use a wrestling now, just like The Rock and Stone Cold. Who do you like more? They're both great at what they do. I mean, now if you're going to ask me like John Romita or somebody classic like that, I'm going to go with John Romita over anybody. That's my personal favorite. John Buscema, who's no longer with us, that type of thing. But living DC artists, Neil Adams, EVS, Jim Lee. Oh my God, Jim Lee. You can't go wrong with Jim Lee. If you were a 90s kid and you saw Jim Lee artwork, you got excited. Like, that was fucking awesome. Johnny Utah thinks that EVS is better by far. EVS is great. I don't have, any things like that. How much would a commission from Alex Ross cost? If you sell your car, maybe you could afford that. A lot of people are wanting me to talk or check out One Punch Man. Ooh, thoughts on Frank Frazetta? Big Frank Frazetta fan. Love his artwork. Very powerful. Really cool to look at even nowadays. I'm not really into sword and sorcery stuff like him and Mobius. I really like their art style and their talent. Not necessarily the subject matter is my cup of tea, but like Frank Frazetta, I have nothing but respect for that dude. I love his old movie posters. I think he used to say that he could make his yearly salary on one movie poster than he did for all these other art jobs he did. And so he would do movie posters. And, he has a really interesting way of drawing women. He has a really interesting way of depicting power. It's awesome. It's awesome. 90s Jim Lee is a treasure. Jim Lee X-Men is priceless. I'll tell you this. I like 90s Jim Lee stuff so much that they released a Cyclops figure last year, and I spent like 6 months hunting it down. Thankfully, I found it for only $5 above retail, and it's in my favorites collection. I have never seen the works of Chess Burrito. I should check that out, though. Boris Vallejo. I like Boris Vallejo too. Very similar to Frank Frazetta, very different at the same time. His wife, I think it's Julie Bell, does a lot of work. I remember Boris from the Cards in the 90s is for Marvel, the Fleer Ultras. I also remember Boris doing the National Lampoon's posters, which are some of the best looking movie posters ever. I do like how they take a comedy and they elevate it with those that epic movie poster. Okay, now here's a question. Somebody asked me about my thoughts on comic artist Al Williamson, and I can tie it back to Star Wars. And Wild Warlock, I will read your super chat as soon as I answer this, but thank you. I will definitely read it. Al Williamson is the best Star Wars artist ever. Now, I'm not saying, what's his name? I can't, wow, how am I having a, the guy that created all this shit, Ralph McQuarrie and Joe Johnston they're the artists that created Star Wars. I'm not saying that, but anyone to ever draw a Star Wars comic, Al Williamson is the best. If you go back and check out Al Williamson's work on the Star Wars daily strips, I think Archie Goodwin wrote it, you're going to see, in my opinion, some of the most epic Star Wars action on a page because it doesn't rely on tracing faces and it doesn't rely on 3D models. This came from at a time where people were working off model on these ships to save time. Al Williamson delivered a Millennium Falcon that looked like it did in the movie. You had heroic, epic Han Solos. You had really great costume work. You had really great work on just the artwork. Like, check out Al Williamson's Star Wars. It's classic Star Wars from Dark Horse. I read that shit for like 3 days straight. I love Al Williamson. Wild Warlock said, or asked, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, or Chuck Norris? Thank you, Wild Warlock, for all you do. Let me tell you why I like all of them and why I think Jackie Chan is the best in terms of entertainment. Bruce Lee is an icon, but remember, Bruce Lee wasn't around that long in terms of, like, first off, he was pretty young when he died, and secondly, he only made a handful of movies. Big Boss is great, Enter the Dragon is great, Return of the Dragon is my personal favorite, where he fights Chuck Norris in the Coliseum in Rome, awesome. But Jackie Chan has had a better, varied career. He's gone from action, like in Police Story. He has Legend of Drunken Master, which is one of my favorite ones. He has his American introduction with like Rumble in the Bronx and all that stuff. Jackie Chan's awesome. Chuck Norris, I love Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris to me is always Walker, Texas Ranger. I watched that show every week with my grandma. Actually, a couple of months, about a year ago, it was on every day here on a local channel, Grit TV or whatever. Watched it. When my grandma was in the hospital, she had like part of her intestine removed for I think it was some kind of cancer. So she had some kind of cancer they cut out. She's 100% fine now. But I would go to the hospital with her, and I would take her flowers, and we'd watch Walker, Texas Ranger reruns, and she would be like, oh, it was the one where this happened and that happened. So my grandma and I love Walker, Texas Ranger, and I was watching it way back in the day too. Paul McBride, thoughts on Troy Baker playing in a live Joker? Let's see who Troy Baker is. Let's see. I don't know the name off the top of my head. I think we need a break from live action Jokers. I don't necessarily think that you need to do it out of respect for Heath Ledger, but it's kind of like, I don't know. We live in a world where the Joker is in movies, comics, TVs, and all this stuff, and the definitive one's already been done with Mark Hamill. So I don't know. Let me see this Paul Baker guy. I don't really want to see the Joker in another Batman movie for like a decade. Batman has such a rich rogues gallery. Why don't we see the Riddler again? Why don't we see we've already seen Killer Croc. I just read Batman Hush. That's why I went to him first off. Why don't we see a Clock King or just different shit like that? Paul Baker as a live action Joker. You mean the guy, the British actor? He looks like he would be a good one. He looks like the Brian Bolland Joker. If it's got the big ears, yeah, he definitely could be a creepy Joker. Willem Dafoe made that. They made that meme about Willem Dafoe, and I liked that too. What are my thoughts about Rob Liefeld? Well, I think Rob Liefeld seems like a really fun guy to hang out with. But if we go back on his earlier work, you know what I'm going to say about his artwork. He's not the best artist, but he's not the worst. But he got where he was. Good for him. I've never been a fan. I was his target demographic as a child, and his artwork horrified me because of the lifeless faces, the screaming. Zaire, let's see. Thank you. Who would play the world-class bullshitters in a world-class bullshitters movie? I hate to pull this on you, but it's going to be us. You can't um, top. I mean, who's going to be a better me than me? Me. I mean, now for dream casting, who do we want like our doppelgangers to be in film? Let's see. Who would I like to play me? We'll let The Rock, because I brought him up earlier. He's cool. Who would play Kendo? You know what, Kendo? You're in the chat. Tell who you want to play you in a movie, and then we'll see who answers who. But personally, if they're gonna make a world class bullshitters movie, it's got to be us. And by the way, folks, we're gonna shoot a little documentary in Chicago. So if you'd like to be in that, make sure you're there in Chicago. And I'll talk more about the plans when we get closer and closer. But I want to keep bringing it up now because I don't want you guys to forget the hype or lose the hype. It really is happening. I paid for the tickets. All that shit's happening. We're not gonna just say, we're kind of tired. We're not gonna do it. No. We're going to give you 100%. You bring 100%. We're going to have the best time possible. Even if you don't want to support Celebration, come out and hang out with us, meet us. I'm bringing gifts for everybody. Not everybody at Celebration, but I'm going to bring a bunch of shit to hand out. So if you really want to get some cool swag from World Class Bullshitters that you're not going to get from anywhere else, make sure you find me. Which hero has your favorite rogues gallery? Oh, Kendo left earlier. I'll find out from him then. My favorite rogues gallery comes from Spider-Man. I really listen to, or not listen to, why would I listen to Spider-Man? I just love Spider-Man. I have a huge collection. My favorite villain from Spider-Man is Dr. Octopus, so I got to see Alfred Molina play him perfectly in Spider-Man 2. Nobody else has played him. Don't really want anybody else to play him. Kind of done to perfection. I enjoy the Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter. If you're a Spider-Man fan or a comic book fan, make sure you check out Kraven's Last Hunt. It's a dark, depressing tale that features Spider-Man, and I love that. I'm not saying everything needs to be dark and gritty, but it works for Spider-Man sometimes. When it doesn't work, The Amazing Spider-Man. Dion played by Denzel Washington. I'm down with that. Maybe Danny Glover. Dion loves Danny Glover too. Will this documentary shoot be included in gun crime statistics? Maybe. Thank you and good morning to Andrew Falls. Instead of the Flash going back in time and changing the future with Ben Affleck not returning, can't they do a Batman Beyond type of thing where he passes the torch? It might suck, but fuck it. I am all for Batman Beyond. I remember Batman Beyond debuting at nighttime on the WB. It was probably, 7 or 8 o'clock on a weeknight. But I remember watching TV, and then the WB, proper comes in on your local affiliate, and Batman Beyond came on. And I was hooked. And then I think it was on the next day or something like that. I watched that show religiously. I never got the toys because the toys never looked like the cartoon. The closest they had was like a bluish silver figure, but I wanted to get the shit. But I'm all for a Batman Beyond movie. I think they should do it. Why not do both? And I know, hear me out. So you said about the Flash going back in time and undoing Ben Affleck. Maybe by going back in time and undoing the Ben Affleck Batman and stuff, then it creates a future where that old Batman has a Batman Beyond type of thing. That way we can take a rest from Batman for a little bit as well as having Batman Beyond. Okay. Imagine a Batman Beyond film with like Blade Runner 2049 style visuals on top of a bigger production budget. That would be insane. I mean, we could see one of the most visually appealing films ever in terms of superhero action. Because as of now, some superhero movies look great, some don't. I don't think any of the DC movies have looked that visually appealing. As I said earlier, I watched BVS on Sunday, and it was during the Martha scene, and it didn't look good. It was just dark and grim and poorly shot. Infinity War has some pretty cool shots, especially when they were on, was it Titan? That planet, that was neat looking. But imagine a cyberpunk noir style looking world with Batman in that suit. And you got to do the suit just like in the show. You don't add all these pouches and all this extra lines of shit. You have a really cool black bodysuit. And you make Batman blend in. And you have that red neon bat, and that's it. And the white eyes and the mouth. You find a way to do all that shit. I would watch that. So when you say fuck it, I say go full bore on it. Batman Beyond the movie could be incredible. Imagine all the cool things. You could have the Splicer storyline. You could eventually do Return of the Joker. All that stuff. You could really create another future world. Because, we're living in a world where the MCU exists, and then there's the Fox Marvel properties. Imagine a world where the DCEU was successful. Then they have a future world type of thing too. That could be really neat. And they could do a crossover. Like there was a game called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions where it dealt with, or no, something. There was a Spider-Man game where you fought with the future Spider-Man, and you could do a cool crossover like that with Batman or something crazy like that. I mean, people say, "Oh, that sounds convoluted," but we live in a world where Hawkeye and Rocket Raccoon and all these characters are not only on screen but someone's favorite character. It's DC's fault that it's not working out the way they want it to. So we don't need to close our minds down to the possibility that anything can happen in terms of superhero films. And if I had a say in it, Batman Beyond would be happening currently. American Trent 421, thank you. Easier to get a reservation at Dorsey and then watch The Last Jedi. Oh my God. Trent, we are going to do the American Psycho commentary very soon. I got your messages about the dates. I'm going to talk to the other guys to make sure it happens. The only reason it's taken me a minute to get back to you is because I have 4th of July plans, and my mom's birthday is around that time. So I'm trying to, and I got invited to a birthday party, and I have a Weezer concert the night like before that. So I definitely will get to you. We'll do it because I want to have our discussion on pop culture memorabilia, and we can do it live. We can record it. It's up to you, man. But I would love to. Well, we're going to do both, but I can't wait to have those. So be on the lookout. Keep shooting us messages. I'm going to get back to you more in depth when I talk to the other guys tonight. So thank you. Just thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks for being a patron. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk about American Psycho because that movie's fucking awesome. Wild Warlock, the World-Class Bullshitters movie. The World-Class Bullshitters movie would have to end with you guys dying on a beach, Halo Reach style. Well, all joking aside, we wanted to make this movie this year, Who Killed Phil, a Murder Mystery. It would have been a nice introduction to us making a movie. It would have been a nice introduction to a wider audience and stuff like that. I've worked on some of the stuff. I basically wrote the first half of the first act. It's a 3-act story. We are going to do stuff on film together. We're going to do projects. That's the next evolution. I just need to find. Here's the thing too. The guys that are on this channel are from. I'm in Ohio, Dion's in Michigan, Kendo's in Missouri, and Nick is in Atlanta, Georgia. We can drive to get together, but with the exception of me, they all have 9-to-5 jobs that keep them tethered to where they are. I have this thing called a cool job on the internet where I could take a laptop, get a Wi-Fi connection with my microphone, and I can produce the same content anywhere I go. So that's really not a problem for me. But we just need to find out a schedule. But we do want to make a movie like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Trust me. Like the documentary will be first, and we'll move into something else. Jesus A. Ceballos Jr. says, funny how the shills say Batman Beyond won't work because the general audience know Bruce is Batman, but Miles is okay because it fits their SJW agenda. Boom! Thank you, Alan. This is a fucking problem with all of geek culture and nerd entertainment and all this other garbage, the way it's reported in the media. Miles Morales Spider-Man can kiss my ass. It fucking sucks. I've read it. I dislike it. You don't need to do that kind of stuff. It makes sense for, like, Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099 to take over type of thing because Peter Parker's dead and all this other crap. This Spider-Man multiverse crap sucked. I know people liked the comic book. I know I'm in the minority when I say this, but I hated the Spider-Man Spider-Verse storyline. That was fucking terrible. It wasn't funny. I hate Dan Slott's writing. The artwork was whatever. It was just dumb. Batman Beyond would work for twofold. One, Batman Beyond has been out for almost 20 years. There are a lot of people out there that like it. That cartoon has not the same reach as Batman the Animated Series, but after the Animated Series, it's Batman Beyond. Then it's Justice League. Then it's Superman the Animated Series in terms of reach, is what I'm guessing. The show's been out for so long. There have been games. It comes back. People love it. It had multiple comic book series. I think that stuff like Miles Morales Spider-Man is around as, like Ethan said, certain comics are a lost leader, and it's to push ideas and stuff like that, ideals. Those people are hypocrites when they say stuff like that. General audiences don't know who Miles Morales is. And little kids are going to be confused because Spider-Man has been Peter Parker, this white guy, the whole time. Little kids don't dislike black people. What they do is they dislike shit that they don't understand or know. They're like, Mom, who is this? That's not Spider-Man. Kids are smarter than people give them credit for. This Into the Spider-Verse thing will make money, but it isn't going to be a hit. The hit that Homecoming was, I'm not going to see it just on principle. I don't need to see a Disney or excuse me, a Sony animated Spider-Man film. I just am not into that. That is not my thing, and yeah, it doesn't fit into their SJW agenda. They really go. They're disingenuous the way they report shit. You gotta watch those people. You really have to watch those people. Yeah, I'd love a Spider-Man noir film as well. I guys, if you get a chance and you have the system, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, where you play as 4 different Spider-Man, I love that game. No open universe, but I think the story is great. The Ghost with the Most. Thank you, Beetlejuice. Good morning. Off topic, but what's your opinion on the original Devil May Cry series 1 through 4? Do you have any opinion of the Devil May Cry 5 trailer? Well, I have not seen the trailer for 5, so I can't answer that regretfully. But I enjoyed Devil May Cry. The first one I have for PS2. And then, did they do one on the Xbox 360 or something like that? Because I'm pretty sure I've played that one. I like that type of gameplay. I like the series. I think it's a very cool, fun series. Dante was one of my most used characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, that was the one that was on PS3 first. That one, I played that. I played as him a lot. I think it's a cool, fun series. PlayStation has a really good roster. Well, it's not PlayStation exclusive anymore, but back then when it was a PlayStation exclusive, I thought PlayStation had the best roster of games, and that was one that I played a lot. It was hard as shit, but it was cool. It was frenetic. It was way better than something like a Beautiful Joe. And I know Beautiful Joe has its fans, but Devil May Cry, up until I played God of War, that was one of my favorite, at least at the time, exclusive on the console. I need to check out the trailer for 5. I will. I might. I know I say I don't play a lot of games, but sometimes you can pick up a game and hold it until you play it. That way you don't forget about it. Or I'm one of those people, if I see it on sale real cheap, I'll buy it. Like I have a terabyte hard drive full of games I haven't played yet, but I got them because they were super cheap. So maybe I'll do that with Devil May Cry 5 if it appeals to me. I hope they didn't infuse any of those weird politics like they're trying to do with other game series, or they're trying to flip the script. I don't think when people get angry about Gears of War or Halo or certain things like that, it's not because you don't want to play as people of different colors or women or stuff. It's that you want to play as the hero that you like. I think these game developers think that they're going to tire people out. Oh, we gotta grow the brand. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. But we're almost 40 years into playing as Super Mario, and the only thing that's changed is his colors were inverted once, and that's the Mario we've had the whole time. So for anyone that says, oh, you got to do that stuff to be fresh, your answer, an argument, if you like the characters that you like, is Mario. Mario's been around. Mario will be around forever. We don't need to change those main characters. Devil May Cry 4 was on the 360. Okay, then I played that one. Have I played Resident Evil games? Yes, I have. If you listen to some episodes of the podcast, either earlier, I think it was late last year, maybe it was early this year, I don't remember, but in passing, I mentioned playing Resident Evil 4. I got the remake for the PS4 or the upscale or whatever it is. That was one of the best games I've ever played. I was so into Resident Evil 4 that I went back and was thinking about buying all the Resident Evil games on the PlayStation just in case they were as good. I didn't do that, but back in the day, I used to play Resident Evil 2 and 3 Nemesis on the original PlayStation. A lot of fun. Never really found video games to be scary, per se. I guess because I'm in control of the game, and I know the worst thing that's going to happen is the controller's going to vibrate. But I do enjoy the Resident Evil games, not the Resident Evil movies. No thank you. No, sir. Those are not for me. But I'm excited for the remake of Resident Evil 2. I'm going to buy it eventually, because Leon Kennedy is my favorite Resident Evil character, because 2 and 4, he's the main guy. I don't really think they need to remake 4, but I would play another upscaled remake or another upscaled version of 4, so that's my thing. And no, you're not old if you play Resident Evil on PS1. I mean, 22 years ago is not that long. That's just, a blink of an eye for some people. Ross, that is a good idea to calm down by playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. That was the first Super Nintendo game I had because I got the bundle that came with the console and Mario World. I played that game. I still play that game. That is a fantastic video game. One of the best. I'd say it's the best Mario game. Then Mario Brothers 3. And then the original or something. I like all of them. Even Doki Doki Panic, a.k.a. Mario 2. So tell me what you guys think about, like, what's your favorite Mario and stuff like that. Tell me in the comments some of your favorite games, stuff like that. There's Batman Beyond Return of the Joker on PS1. Yes, I played it on the Nintendo 64. Uh, let's see, what was that 2000? Okay, so it came out in 2001 or 2000. Yeah, 2001. We talked about wrestling earlier. When I got into wrestling, nothing else mattered. I kind of got into superheroes for a bit. I still watched cartoons, but I wasn't spending like the little bit of money I would get. It was all on wrestling stuff. That's why I own like 50 action figures of The Rock and shit like that, posters, T-shirts, all that shit. I have not checked my Twitter, Army Vet Rod Sketch Therapy. I will check that out. Like I said, Nick usually runs that. I've been kind of staying off Twitter because of this whole the accusation thing we've been going through with retro blasting, but that's over because those people are full of shit. So I just didn't really want to deal with it. I took up an hour of my time, and that was an hour too long. Original Battlefront from the H. I love that screenshot. By the way, H, if you're listening to this part now, on Dan's WWE 2K18 game, we have a character called H. It's that image on a round head, and we just fight him. He comes out to Triple H's music and everything, and he sucks. We beat the shit out of him. Bill and Ted starts shooting in January. Oh, I did not know that. I am excited for Bill and Ted 3. I know people say, oh, it's been so many years and all this other crap, and it's not going to be good, but look at John Wick. Keanu Reeves is a much better actor now than he was then. He can bring something new to the role. Alex Winter still is involved with stuff. These guys aren't out of touch. I think we're going to get a really good meta narrative on, where we are in entertainment. It's kind of funny how people always shit on the bringing back old characters, but I think at the same time, it's those old characters that can be used to say something about modern entertainment and how shitty it was. Like Johnny Lawrence from The Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, that is his story. That dude does more for, and let's use these SJW's phrases against him. They do more for the diversity and all this crap and entertainment and equal representation because they're not preachy and serious. And when the people get preachy and serious, they just shoot them down with humor and it works and it's a good story. Cobra Kai is how you reboot shit. I'm hoping Bill and Ted does the same thing on a film level scale. I'm really excited for that. Do I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling? I really want to. I tried getting into it after the Jericho Kenny Omega match because I saw that on YouTube or Facebook and I thought it was incredible. But I don't know how to access it. I tried going to their website and I couldn't figure out how to get their streaming service, but it's worth the money. No Rufus though. That's sad. I know. Rest in peace, George Carlin. But I think you can do without him. You can just talk about him. Don't CGI him in. Just mention him or something. If I played the Arkham game, the Joker was voiced by Troy Baker. I've not played Arkham. What is that? Arkham Legends or I've only played the 3 main Arkham games. So I've never played Arkham Origins. I've never played Arkham Origins. I've never played that game, and I probably won't. So not because I hate Batman, just I don't know. I liked Arkham Knight. I don't really want to go back. I have seen Lucha Underground, Johnny Mundo for the win. So there we go. I'll watch more, but it's on Netflix. I don't have anything else. I know without George Carlin, it won't be the same, but think of it like this: he's in parts of the he's a big part of the movie, but some of my favorite parts of the movie don't necessarily feature George Carlin. Either I think it's all about Bill and Ted, and I think they'll be okay, guys. Let's give it a shot because I think Keanu Reeves has come back, and I don't think he really went away, but I think he's elevated himself in terms of like acting caliber, and I want to check it out. Grim Falcon, thank you very much, and good morning, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, my friend. Hey, would love to stay, but there's apparently a shooter in my area. Here's a few bucks before I lock up the house. Cheers. Be safe, and I mean this honestly. Let us know that you're going to be okay. Like, don't go outside. Just chill. Do what you got to do, and thank you. But honestly, let me know either via Facebook or the YouTube or the Facebook page or the email or whatever. Just let me know because that's not cool. I don't like that kind of stuff at all. Mr. the OC, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Yeah, something I ask of all my victims. By the way, the Mr. OC, make sure you're around tonight in 12 hours. We're going to do a Batman 89 live watch party. with our friend Silswill. He's a patron who requested that, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Maybe we'll all get ripped and take a walk off a rooftop like Johnny Gobbs. You never know. Anything's possible here on World Class Bullshitters. You want a Toys R Us game? Like a game from Toys R Us, or like a game about Toys R Us? Because I'll play either one. I miss Toys R Us. You know what? I think one of these days, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. You guys can press F if you want to talk about this topic. If not, it's fine. I'll find something else. But press F if you'd like to do an episode where we talk about some of our favorite childhood memories in terms of entertainment. It doesn't have to be based around Toys R Us, but you can say like, oh, when I was a kid, I used to watch that movie The Witches, and it was so scary, or stuff like that. Like, if you guys want, to tell me stories about you, we'll talk about those on air, because I got a lot of life experience, and we can have a lot of fun, sharing stuff like that. And we're getting a couple lefts in, so all right, we got an R. Okay, so we'll talk about that then. I'll begin to ask you guys those topics on another episode of the show, because we'll save it for then. Do I read the Green Lantern comic? I don't read any current comic books. Not to sound like a hipster, but I'm very anti SJW Marvel, and I picked up DC's Action Comics number 1000, and that's it. So I picked up that one book recently, but I wouldn't say I read modern comics nowadays. It's not about the characters aren't the characters anymore. Yeah, Kevithar, old assholes have a lot of experience. I know you do, but my childhood wasn't really spent. I mean, I played sports for a little bit, but it wasn't like I went out and played, and I was an only child. Spent a lot of time watching movies and shows and comics and stuff like that. When I was a little kid, I knew like the minutia of stuff that most adults didn't know. It's kind of weird, but it's who I am. Laughable Larry, thank you very much and good morning. My favorite childhood memory was Star Wars. Ruined now. That moment of silence for Larry's childhood. Yeah, they fucked it up big time, man. They really fucked it up big time. Like I've told you guys on the show, I found my first communion cake that was Star Wars, and I thought like, oh man, it was such a good pure time where Star Wars meant something. And now it just means shit. Very big turds. It's bad entertainment, guys, and I don't know what's worse, the entertainment itself or the way we're treated for disliking it. Like we talked about on the High Council last night, we should call ourselves Star Wars customers, Disney customers, and we should demand respect. We should not be talked to a certain way. Like if you guys went to dinner, are you going to let your waiter treat you like shit? Are you going to let the cook spit in your food? No, you're going to send that shit back. You're going to demand a refund and an apology from the manager. Same thing with this. Maybe they're not literally spitting on you, but figuratively they are. When they call you something that you're not, and they'll say, oh, we're not talking about you. If you get angry, we are you. No, I don't want you talking about anybody from the fandom. Like, even if you are the Last Jedi's biggest supporter, I want to talk to you and I want to challenge your opinion, but I'm not going to say you're a man baby because, this stupid infantile crap entertains you. I think you're wrong, and that's not really, it's a debatable topic. That's where we need to be. Rian Johnson in the press saying, oh, they didn't like the movie. Well, it was my artistic vision, and, it's not for everybody. And that's it. That's it. That's all you fucking say. Then you'll get your trilogy of movies where you can suck ass even more. But it ain't going to happen because there's so much negative press towards you, my friend. Like, you thinking, oh, I'm going to defend Kelly Marie Tran on Twitter is going to endear me to these people and bring them in to watch my trilogy. Fuck, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. At all. At all. I did like Unbreakable and Split, and I'm gonna see Glass next year. Yes, I like those three M. Night Shyamalan movies. And I even like The Sixth Sense, but The Sixth Sense is a movie that you can watch one time, and that's it. The twist is great, but once you know the twist, whatever. It's like Fight Club, and I knew the twist of Fight Club before I ever saw the movie. But those movies, Fight Club is really great and is layered. Sixth Sense really just works that one time. My Immortal is a classic. It's the greatest fan-made novel ever. Paul McBride, have you listened to our My Immortal episodes? They were classic pieces of shit. So, I mean, you can listen to us listen to My Immortal. You can listen to us talk about it. It's painful. I laughed so hard I had a fucking headache. and I am not exaggerating. My head hurt for an hour because of that. Silver's Rayleigh 427. That's the website I use all the time. When people say, read a comic, and I say I'll read it online, I go there all the time. I was there this morning reading the Rampaging Hulk from 1977. It was a cool black and white comic. So I suggest everybody go to the chat, read where Silver Rayleigh 427 said, and it's a good site. It's completely safe. John Hayden, you are right. They did stop following Hero with 1,000 Faces, and I don't think that's a good thing. You gotta reach people on that primal level. You gotta hit them. I'm not saying in the feels, but you gotta engage them on a level that they don't even know they're being engaged in. So by the end of that story, they're just like, wow. Emotion is the most important part of all of it. And if people don't feel anything, if they feel apathy towards your brand or your product, you've lost. I studied advertising and marketing in college, and they talk about this stuff. People are loyal to a brand because they feel a certain way. People feel loyal towards Coca-Cola. They feel loyal towards other brands out there. You notice that stuff? So, never have David Jaffe on the High Council. He's fun to watch streams, but he's liberal, tough guy, hates Peppy. I don't know who David Jaffe is. I only get people on the channel here that I know and like. Now, it's not to say that I wouldn't have a debate with other people. I'm not shutting down that. But I don't think I would have, unless it's for the purpose of debate, I'm not going to just have somebody come on and try to tear down the show and our fans and stuff like that. That is just not how we're going to do things. Yeah, I do think the next James Bond will have SJW elements, and I'm going to be very pissed. I'm probably going to turn some people off, but that's the one thing more so than anything, personally, that I don't want to see changed. I'm not saying we need to go back to what Bond does in the novels where he abuses women, but I don't want to see James Bond being talked to about sleeping around or doing this or that. I want to see classic film James Bond on the screen, and the world around him can adapt. I can't wait to get Daniel Craig out of the fucking role. I hope he... I don't know if I want his Bond to die. I don't know if I would like that, but I want the next Bond movie without Daniel Craig, Bond 26, if it happens, to be a not reboot, where they don't talk about rebooting it. They just go back to the old Pierce Brosnan timeline type of thing and make it fun. Make a James Bond movie more like a Mission Impossible movie instead of trying to suck up the remnants of the Bourne Identity. Paul McBride, would you debate Jeremy about The Force Awakens? I do on and off on the show. I like to give him shit about it, but we can do a debate. Like I said, guys, we give you guys whatever you ask for within reason. I can't say can you make us a video about boat building? No, because I don't know shit about boat building. But I can debate Jeremy about The Force Awakens. We talked about it a little bit last night on the High Council, Paul, and we can talk about it next week on that. Oh, okay. Timothy Dalton was the SJW Bond. That's an interesting thing, especially the whole Cara Malove, about the AIDS. I think it was more about the AIDS crisis in the late 80s. They were trying to be more conscious, but I like The Living Daylights. But I also like how Bond does sleep around in the beginning, and he's not afraid to be a violent, angry dude. Do you need to slap women around like Roger Moore in Mount the Golden Gun? No, but Pierce Brosnan had that shit right. When Xenia tried to kill him, he didn't hesitate. He just threw her ass on that fucking little stone warmer, burnt it, tossed her over, told her no more foreplay, and pulled his gun out. That's the Bond we that's a nice medium of Bond. It's not like you don't need Sean. Sean Connery elements are great. I love Sean Connery. I'm not going to tear down Sean Connery. He's the best Bond. Him and Pierce Brosnan are tied. Laughable Larry, thank you very much. Let's get a female James Bond, #women power. And let's watch nobody go see that fucking movie. Look it, guys. The entertainment business is a business. Coca-Cola is a product that they sell. Movies are a product that they sell. And when people don't like a product, they don't buy it and they revert back to what works. I keep using Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola changed to New Coke and was it 85? Then they went back to Coca-Cola Classic at the end of that summer. People didn't like it. A female Jane Bond type of thing isn't going to work. Women here's the thing: these movie franchises that make all this money and have millions of fans have men and women fans. It's not just millions of men watching these movies on repeat to make money at the box office. Tons of people go. My grandma and mom, women, of another generation, always liked James Bond. This stuff appeals to them too. They like the exotic locales. They think the guys are dashing, stuff like that. Guys like it because James Bond is cool and the women are hot and it's kind of sexy and there's violence and explosions. Like, it works for everybody. Like, I was Terrence Young, the director of Dr. No from Russia with Love and Thunderball, the best James Bond director, said Bond needs to be a man that women want to be with and a man that the men want to be. Stop trying to make entertainment that doesn't appeal to people's primal emotions. It's so easy. Just play into what people want and give them that. And don't worry about your ideologies. Give the people what they want and you'll have a huge success. It's really, really easy. I remember when they wanted to make Jinx as a franchise too. Not to get on another tangent, but I can remember exactly where I was. I was in my backyard with my mom because we used to have an above-ground pool. And, I used to put sand down and stuff. And I remember being out there, taking down the old above-ground pool to replace it with a newer one. I was like, wow, they're going to make a Jinx franchise and all this other stuff. And she goes, they should just make more James Bond movies. And I agreed 100%. And, I mean, that was 16 years ago that we're talking. Here's the thing. They have female action franchises that don't work. Not because I don't know why they don't work. Is it because they're female-led? Who knows? Is it because they're not very well-made movies? Who knows? But Proud Mary didn't work. Proud Mary was a failure. I don't think Red Sparrow was that big a hit. I think Atomic Blonde made money. But let's look at that a little closer. Atomic Blonde worked because you had the lead. You had Charlize Theron, who had been in Fast and Furious 8 and Mad Max Fury Road. And if you want to watch a cool woman who's the lead in a sci-fi action film, watch Mad Max Fury Road. She's got a robot arm. She faces adversity. She loses. She wins. She's an interesting character. I think Star Wars could be a little more like modern Mad Max and really help itself out in terms of like staying relevant over the long stretch. That's the beauty of Star Wars and a lot of these movies that we love, 30, 40, 50, 60 years down the road. The longevity. You can watch Dr. No today, and yes, it's dated. It takes place during the Cold War, and it's during the space race and all these things, but there are elements that we still can understand. Like, we all appreciate a good crime story, and that's what Dr. No underneath it all is. James Bond is investigating a terrorist type of thing. At works, it still stands the test of time. Modern movies, Ghostbusters 2016, there's this zeitgeist. It was part of the zeitgeist for like 5 seconds. It comes out. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares about it. And then, it goes away. It's gone. It's no longer a thing. It's a bargain bin film. Let's see. We got a super chat from Mattaween. Thank you very much. Do you watch any CWDC shows? They're all full of SJW and political messages. They've doubled down on catering to the audience, and it's losing me. Well, Mattaween, I do not watch the DC CW shows. Yes, I definitely would see why that kind of stuff would be in there. It's not for me. I don't like the low budget nature, and I don't like Gotham. I think a Batman show or a Spider-Man TV show would be fantastic, but I don't want to watch a superhero show about a superhero universe that doesn't have the hero in it. I know young Bruce Wayne's in it, trained to be Batman, but I like the Nolan trilogy, and I like that story about how he became Batman. I don't really want to watch a little pretentious, douchey Bruce Wayne in Gotham, mope over his parents. I want to see an older Bruce Wayne as a ninja, training, fighting, doing this shit, having the dilemmas of killing and wanting to save a city and all kinds of shit. Like, I don't want a child version of that. And so I don't watch them. And I'm sure they're full of these weird ideologies and politics, and it's just not for me. So thank you, Mattaween. But, there is entertainment to be had there, and there is a happy medium they must have had before to keep you interested. But all they're look at, you're the perfect example. They're pushing you out. They're doubling down on this stuff. Therefore, you're not going to support the show. The ratings will go down. They're basically by doubling down and being so unlikable and douchey, they're killing their cause at the root of it. So in reality, all we have to do is stay true to who we are, and they'll wipe themselves out. It's a really easy war to win, if there is even a war. Claustoric, thank you. What movie/movies you liked after giving them a second chance? Well, let's see here. Fletch was a movie that I saw as a kid and thought it was okay. I watched it again, and the more I watched it, the more I loved it. That is a movie that I've watched, honestly, probably close to 100 times, and I've liked it. I like it now that I've watched it so much more that I'm almost like obsessed with it to a degree. I can't watch it enough. It's fantastic, and I like questions like this. But what other movies did I give a second chance to that I really like? I'm trying to look at my shelf to see Big Lebowski. I didn't really like it the first time I saw it. Now it's one of my all-time favorite movies. Maybe top 5. It could be number 5 on my top 5 list. That or a Hot Fuzz or something like that. It's really a hard call. Let's see. A lot of times I see a movie and it just hits me right away. I want to answer more of this shit because I'll tell you a movie that I saw and I thought I liked, and now I hate it. Spider-Man 3. I saw it in theaters 3 times. I was like so blown away by it. And then I got it on DVD and I realized this isn't that good. So that's a movie that's, plays to the adverse of that. Office Space. I didn't like it the first time I saw it. Watched it again. Fell in love with it. Napoleon Dynamite took a couple viewings to find it okay. Now I don't like it anymore, but I hated it. Then I watched it a couple times, really liked it, and then I hated it again. So the circle's now complete with Napoleon Dynamite. Ghost World's another one. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Ghost World. It's got 2001 Jeff's ultimate fantasy of Thor Birch and Scarlett Johansson. 2001 Jeff is no longer with us, so say what you want. But those are a couple examples. If I think of more as I'm talking, I will gladly go back and answer those because that is a great question. I really like that one a lot. Jeremy Peerboom, thank you very much. Will you and Nick do a 2-hour episode on boat building? I'm sure he knows a thing or two about boats and rafts. Fuck. Well, now that you guys requested it, I have to do it. So after our Norwegian cabinet making episode, we'll definitely get into our boating episode. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of yachting too. Damn it, Jeremy. Akashic Soldier, thank you. Please watch the last season of Gotham, please. I can't promise anything, but when it hits Netflix, I'll check. I can check something out. Like I said, I can't promise anything yet because it's on Mondays. I got stuff to do with the channel. And now that I do the live show like this, I got to go to bed earlier so I can get sleep and do other shit. So maybe down the road for you guys if I get enough requests for it. But right now, I can't promise anything. I don't want to, disappoint you. But, I'd rather be honest with you. Okay, thank you again, though. Laughable Larry, thank you and good morning. Ocean's 8 is failing at the box office, apparently because of the middle-aged white men. It's not because agenda-driven garbage. I didn't know it was already failing at the box office. So let me look at the numbers. I'm not saying I don't agree with you at all or believe you. I just want to see where we're at in terms of box office so I can give the audience a little more. Okay, first off, it's sitting at a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's kind of in the middle. It's got a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb with 16,438 votes. And currently its box office is at, let's see here, $81 million. It had a budget of, where is the budget? Production budget, $70 million. Domestically, it has beaten its production budget, and currently it sits worldwide at $117 million. So basically $118 million. So it has made its money back, and now it's profitable, but I think it's already done. Now, if they're trying to blame white guys for not seeing this movie, that's kind of stupid. Remember, the audiences that have made all these big franchises huge aren't just guys, white guys. It's people from all walks of life, men and women. Maybe women aren't going to support this. Maybe they watched the Today Show and they saw Hoda Cobb talking about it's 2018. It's time for this. And I'll use my mom as an example, but somebody like my mom's like, this is garbage. I don't care about this stuff. She hates modern day feminism. She thinks it's stupid. Like, not to get on a platform, but my mom's one of those ladies that worked her whole life, still works. She just looks at some of this stuff as just stupid people complaining. She's out working a job, busting her ass, and doesn't bitch about it. She knows what she has to do. Has she been treated differently because she's a woman? I'm sure of it. She's almost 60. It happens nowadays still, but my mom hasn't let that change her life. She's not whining about it to people. She just does what she has to do, and she's found stuff that's worked for her. She's made it really far as a single parent. Agenda-driven garbage is the case. Maybe the thing is they just take movies that appeal to everybody because men are the leads, or movies that are appealing to men, and they make them for women, and women don't like that stuff. The Hunger Games made a bunch of money because it's like a teen drama thing, and it works in that regards. And when you're younger, maybe action movies appeal to you, and maybe guys don't really grow up. And then you got stuff like Ocean's 11, which appealed to everybody. And then you have Ocean's 8, which appeals to some people, but not everybody. Like me, I'm not going to see the movie because I don't like I've never seen any of the Ocean's movies. So that's a bizarre franchise for them to turn into a female-led thing. It's not going to get me to buy anything. I don't know. I just look at it like this. They're smart enough to not be too much like Ghostbusters last year, but now they're starting to get like that, and it's only going to hurt their cause. Like Ghostbusters 2016, answer the call. Don't answer it if you choose not to. But my point is that should be used as a cautionary tale in SJW marketing and tactics. Star Wars is now a bigger example. It just goes to show you that these people cannibalize themselves for some cause. Like, I don't respect Cate Blanchett and Sandra Bullock for the dumb shit they said. Never was a Mindy Kaling fan, but stop putting the blame on other people. Your movie fucking sucks. Uwe Boll is a man about it and will fight you in a fucking boxing ring. If Mindy Kaling wants to square up with somebody that doesn't like her movie, cool, more power to you. But until then, shut up, okay? It's a differing of opinions. Nobody likes the fucking movie. Well, not nobody. Let me rephrase that. People aren't seeing it the way they want to. It's not going to be $1 billion film. It may make $200 million worldwide, and it'll quietly go away. Because Ghostbusters made whatever, and it's quietly gone away. It's kind of, it's a cable afternoon flick. It's not a timeless tale that people will be watching forever. Sam Flanagan, what about John Hancock? The guy that signed the Constitution or whatever, or the Declaration of Independence? That guy? I'm a Herbie Hancock fan myself. Robert Maxey, Fight Club. I'm going to subvert your expectations and not shit on you while still making a good movie. Watch party, please. Fight Club can definitely happen. I have Fight Club on Blu-ray. I think it's a really fun, awesome movie. I like it. I stand by it. Not the biggest Brad Pitt or Edward Norton fan, but it's a really awesome movie that comes from an interesting time in cinema. The pre-9/11 cinematic landscape was very interesting. Actually, before the year 2000, the late 90s was a very interesting landscape in terms of film. You had interesting art films and you had interesting mainstream films. Not everything was a hit, not everything was a flop. But the early 2000s pre-Spider-Man was a kind of a wasteland. You had some hits here and there, but you didn't have anything giant. That interim between episodes 1 and 2 was a really weird time. I only think I went to the movie once or twice. So subverting expectations is a good thing if done properly. Rian Johnson's not that good. We've learned that. Laughable Larry. What a world we live in where I'm more excited for The Equalizer 2 than Episode 9. Well, that's the world Disney's made for us. So remember, when you go to their parks, if you have to go to their parks, that's all they're doing. But don't take it out on a Disney employee at the park because those people's lives suck. They used to have to share underwear and do all these terrible things. But yeah, I'm more excited for Equalizer. There's not a movie coming out. Like, you could name some random movie, like some, I don't know, Jim Jarmusch joint. I'd rather watch that than Episode 9. Like, only thing I'm looking forward to Episode 9 for is like a dumpster fire and an opportunity to talk to you guys about it. But that is where we are, Laughable Larry. Another super chat from Niatona. World Class Bullshitters. I'm visiting the U.S. from Australia. Why you got to do this so early? Well, Niatona, when you return back to Australia, we'll be doing it pretty late. Here's the thing. Here in America, we have this radio show, radio morning talk show type of format. And I've always wanted to do stuff like that. So that's why we're doing it so early. That's really the reason why. So tell me what part of the U.S. you're visiting. And if you're anywhere near me, I'll give you some suggestions for cool stuff to do. If you're just visiting family and friends, then they already got stuff lined up for you. But If you're here for a while, you'll have to get up early to catch us, and hopefully you do. Hopefully you stick with us early in the morning, and when you return home, find us a little later in the day. Chris Cockrum, you worked on Ghostbusters here in Massachusetts. If you have any stories you'd like to share with me about that, worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com. Maybe we can, you can share me some stories. Maybe we'll do a live interview. I would definitely love to have a conversation like that. So you just contact me, worldclassbs@mail.com, and I will get back to you. It takes me a couple days, but please tell me if you got more stories. I'd love to hear it. Okay, you're bad. Sam Flanagan, before I get to that next super chat, he meant the movie Hancock. So Hancock was okay. I watched it in college on the free TV channel. It was okay enough for one viewing, but I will never watch Hancock again, ever. And that's not even me being angry. It was passable enough. Big super chat from Sequist. Thank you very much. The SJWs have convinced the studio execs that they can make the male captive audience of famous franchises and gender bend and get the perfect demographic of what is called a Four Corners movie. I have heard Kevin Smith talk about a Four Corners movie. Or is it male, female, young, old? I don't think that gender bending in movies works because you always have a contingent of the audience or a portion of the audience that thinks that's lazy like I do. And there's no purpose to watch a gender-bended remake of any movie because you can just watch the original. Now, I'm not saying that some remakes aren't good or great or whatever, like The Thing. If you say that's a remake or another adaptation of a book, there are certain versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers that are better than the original. I think the Donald Sutherland one is awesome. So remakes can work, but this gender bending of anything doesn't work. And I do think that I think you're right about this. They get these execs want money. That's why Michael Bay has a career, because I know we can shit on Michael Bay and make fun of him all day. But here's the thing. Michael Bay movies have made bank for decades. That's why he has the lifestyle he has. He can get the women in the movies. That's why he can make shit that these SJW people dislike, and it doesn't matter because it makes so much money. Hollywood is always looking for the next thing. If I came out with a movie that was very anti-SJW and it made $1 billion on a budget of $2 million, I can make anything I want for decades because I have that proven track record. It's all about the money and the proven track record, and they're trying to jump on the back of a proven track record and put a franchise here. Let's use the Marvel DC analysis one last time. Marvel took the time to build to the Avengers. DC did not. They were basically trying to start with the Avengers. Yeah, I know Man of Steel came first, but BVS was like that. You got to put in the time to build a franchise, and it takes time and love from these fans to build up something iconic and mythic, like Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters has been out for 34 years, so it was the 32nd anniversary when the shitty one came out. You had all those years of goodwill. I don't want to hear, it's because little boys watched the cartoon and they are angry. Not every little boy watched that cartoon, and not every little boy still likes Ghostbusters that liked it back in the day. Men and women are equally responsible for that movie doing what it did. You got people like the Jessie Milestone girl that doesn't like that kind of SJW nonsense. Where do they label her? Where do they, what I'm saying? Like they don't have an argument for somebody like her. And it's just lazy, bad storytelling and writing. Maybe if you have it like an SNL skit, like a female James Bond, that would work as a joke. Or something on Mad TV back in the day. Because Mad TV, there was a time where it was better than SNL. But this gender bending thing is just, I don't get why they don't see it's bad financially. It doesn't make much money. We're living in a world where, a Star Wars movie is a failure because of the shit that came before it. And, behind the scenes garbage and all these other things. There are so many things that they could be doing to better our entertainment and make themselves more money. If we want to be honest, they could make more money by doing certain things instead of shitting on the audiences and expecting us to just lap up the garbage they produce. So, you're not going to get the Four Corners audience from that. You had Star Wars that had a built-in fan base, and people are rejecting that. And I apologize for the siren in the background. There's an ambulance. Somebody probably died on my street. So, let's see what we got. Again, thank you very much, Sequist, for your super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you to everyone so far this morning. It's been a really good morning. We've had a lot of listeners. I appreciate everyone who's listened. It's been a lot of fun. We've still got about 10 minutes left of the show, so get those in if you have anything specific you want me to talk about, because we go live from 7:45 to 10 a.m. This week it's going to be Tuesday through Friday. When there are weeks that have a wrestling pay-per-view and I stay up late and out late on a Sunday night, maybe we don't do it on Mondays, but I'll give you guys plenty of heads up so you don't wait on me. Another big super chat from Nia Tona. Thank you very much. On the West Coast, North Cali, sitting down around 7 a.m. after a long night out, and now I'm staying up for my favorite podcast. Any recommendations are appreciated. First off, thank you for calling us your favorite podcast, and thank you for staying up with us. Recommendations, if you're out in California, and I know this sounds stereotypical, In-N-Out Burger. If you haven't had it yet, I love it. Like, I watch YouTube videos and news videos about In-N-Out Burger, and there's a small part of me that wants to just drive out like to Texas, because Texas is closer than California, to In-N-Out Burger. That is my suggestion. Get yourself, depending on how much you can eat, I say get a 4x4 animal style with animal fries, and ask them to make your fries extra crispy to keep them crisp when they put the stuff on them. But go there. Like, you can hear me getting excited talking about In-N-Out Burger. Go there. That's really my suggestion. When I go to places for WrestleMania each year, food is like the thing we do research on. We went to New Orleans. We spent a lot of time eating, and we had a fantastic time. You know, it would have been a great live stream had we gone live when we were eating on one of those restaurants on Bourbon Street on those little balconies you see in all the movies. We went to a place called Tableau. Oh, man, we would have had a great time. Unlimited mimosas. We were just a bunch of dudes in T-shirts in this high-end restaurant drinking and eating. It was a fantastic time. But California, check that out. In-N-Out Burger, that is my recommendation. And if you have any good experiences out there, let me know. And when I'm out there next, I'll check them out. So I hope you have a good time in California, and be safe out there. Sam Flanagan, again, thank you very much. People got burned out on DC on all Batman movies. You think? I am always down for more Batman movies, but I didn't get burned out on the Nolan stuff. I think it had a nice conclusion, and I was really excited when they announced that more Batman was coming, because Batman is my second favorite character next to Spider-Man. I love Batman. I'll tell you, this Batman's been doing so much better in terms of like comics and shit now compared to Spider-Man. I might say Batman's my favorite character. I got the fucking merchandise to prove it. I'm a big Batman fan. I think it would have been smart for DC to launch their extended universe with Green Lantern, even though that wasn't that good of a movie, and then build from there and to course correct the shit out of it, because you could have started with Batman and he would have had 2 movies, and Green Lantern, it would have been iffy, but whatever. And then instead of following the auteur theory with Nolan, make The Dark Knight Rises tie into that. Maybe you have Superman appear. I don't know. But there's definitely a universe out there that's not a better thing. A lot of good mornings. Thank you very much. Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin? I'll go with Led Zeppelin. I do like a lot of their music. I got it on my phone. Like that song from the Thor trailer, Immigrant Song. I had that on my phone years. I was playing it. Someone like, oh, you like Thor? I'm like, yeah, it was cool, but I like this song more. Charming Curmudgeon. I like that name. Jeff, what do you think about the Spider-Man cartoon from the 1960s? I own it on DVD. I picked it up back in high school. I'm looking at the box set right now. It's fun. It's hokey as shit. I'm not going to deny it, but it is the spirit of Marvel Comics in the late 1960s. It's got the best Spider-Man theme song. I would put money down that everyone could sing the opening line of the Spider-Man song. Like, here's the thing. No other superhero has a song that's so connected to them. Like, Batman has multiple themes. You could say the Nolan one. You could say the Tim Burton one. And I know it's Hans Zimmer and Danny Elfman. I know that. I'm just saying the name of the film. You might know the one from the 66 series, the da-da-da-da Batman. Like, you'll know that shit. But you know those ones. With Spider-Man, everybody knows Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. A lot of people are telling me that In-N-Out Burger is overrated. You're telling me that you like Five Guys more. I live by Five Guys. I think Five Guys is the most overrated burger I've ever had in my life. It's good. I like Five Guys. But Five Guys is just a bunch of French fries and a burger that the bun falls apart and they don't cook some of the toppings enough. So, I mean, we can get into a food podcast any day of the week. We can talk about burgers and pizza and all that shit. So, Mondi, I'm sorry that you're salivating. Make sure you take care of that soon. And yes, a 4x4 animal style burger is 100% real, Sonic Guy. Laughable Larry says, what a burger is better? had Whataburger in Texas when I talked about Texas. I had a terrible experience and the food was just okay. I'd have to eat it again to say how great it was. But when I went to California for In-N-Out Burger, I ate it on like a Thursday afternoon, and then I ate it again on Sunday after WrestleMania. It was fantastic. So, thank you, Chris Cockrum, for enjoying your live chat today. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone that's been watching. I think we've had a really good thing. Let's see what else we got here. John Williams Superman. Yeah, I agree that John Williams Superman is more iconic, but Superman also has a couple other themes that I can just rattle off for you right now, especially the one that came from the Fleischer cartoon that has the word, Superman, strange visitor from another world, and all that shit. There are other like lines of dialogue and stuff that go with Superman from other sources of media, but like nothing. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Those words are tied to the character more so than Spider Blood, Radioactive Spider Blood from the 90s, or the Spectacular Spider-Man song, or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, like all that shit. The 60s Spider-Man theme, they brought it back for Homecoming. They put it in 2 of the 3 Raimi films in terms of the parody in part 2. It's in the credits of part 1. It's part of the character. It's the suit. And I'm talking just like certain aspects. Like, there's too many layers to the character in terms of, interesting plot twists and stuff like that. But there's the suit. There's the great power, the responsibility, and that theme song, the Spider-Man part. Like, everybody knows it. There are so many things with Spider-Man, and that theme song fits big time. Did I see Asuka in New Orleans? I didn't see any wrestlers in New Orleans. I've been to so many WrestleManias now that we don't necessarily look to meet wrestlers or do that stuff. It's just a time to hang out with my best friends, eat, drink, be merry. It was the first time that Nick and Kendo met in person. And so we had Nick, Kendo, Dion, myself, so all 4 guys from the show, Dan, and my friend Joel. And we had a hotel suite. We hung out. We did all kinds of cool shit like that. So we did not meet any wrestlers or see any wrestlers. Hardee's is really good. Hardee's used to be around here, but Hardee's is no longer in my area. So last time I had Hardee's was on our way back from Gatlinburg. John Williams phoned it in for the sequels. He has no motivation. You're right. Retro Blaster and I always talk about this on air, about how the music doesn't have the same oomph that it used to have. And I think if you pay attention to the episode 7 credits, it says John Williams, and then somebody else was involved too, but I don't think they get mentioned publicly. Don't hold me to that because I don't want to watch the movie again, but I'm pretty sure there's some guys like Drew something or something like that. Game Motron, but would the Spider-Man theme work for anyone other than Peter Parker? No, because there's no other Spider-Man besides Peter Parker. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or Spider-Man 60s? I'm going to go with Spider-Man 60s for the camp value, but if you were to ask me Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends or Spider-Man 81, I picked Spider-Man 81. For those who don't know, there were 2 Spider-Man cartoons on at the same time in the 80s. One was a solo series. One was a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with Firestar and Iceman. I'll go for the solo series because that was actually my first introduction to the character. So for me, when I think of the Spider-Man theme song outside of the 60s, I go to the one from that 81 show. And the words are literally just Spider-Man. And then it's got this really funky beat. So, there you go. Batman's theme from Danny Elfman is timeless. They brought it back for the Justice League. That was my favorite moment of that movie, maybe? I don't know. You saw Triple H at your nearest IHOP, or IHOB as it's now called. A lot of people talking about food. A lot of people talk about Batman. All kinds of shit. What about the forgotten Toku Spider-Man? I don't know what that is. Is that the Super Sentai style show? I liked that. I've seen that. Supider-Man or whatever he calls himself, and he calls for Leopardon the robot. Ooh. Oh, you mean, okay, so Nicholas Hammond, 70s Spider-Man or Electric Company Spider-Man. I'm going to go with Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man because that show sucks, but it's not unwatchable. It's more watchable than some superhero shows. Spider-Man 81 was a great cartoon. I liked that one a lot. They introduced more Spider-Man villains in the 60s cartoon. Thank you, the Charming Curmudgeon. I'm glad somebody else knows about that show. I don't feel alone. There have been discussions I've had with people that consider themselves longtime fans that have never even heard of the show. So there we go. I love that show. My favorite episode is Doctor Doom, Master of the Universe, where Doctor Doom tries to take over the world with androids. He's gonna basically put these like devices on all the world leaders, and then the people at the UN are gonna elect him world leader. And Spider-Man has to fight these automaton robots, and he gets stuck on an airplane. It's a crazy show, but it looks good. It has really good animation, and it's a lot of fun. I love the voice of Spider-Man. He actually came back to do Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions in 2010. I don't know when that game came out. Laughable Larry, can we get a female Spider-Man? Well, there's Spider-Woman. She exists, and she's fine. I don't really think having the female counterpart in the comic book world hurts. Like, I like Batgirl just fine, not new, modern Batgirl, but like classic Barbara Gordon shit, and then I even like her as Oracle. Those kind of characters work. I don't have any problem with like a female equivalent, but you know, you gotta build a proper universe first. That's why Marvel, you'll be able to see a character like Black Widow or Black Panther supporting cast gain such support because you built a strong fan base. Movies like the old Spider-Man trilogy or stuff were building the character first. If they would have continued past the trilogy, then you could have introduced more characters. But all the logistical reasons and the legal reasons have kept it from happening so far. So thank you, Laughable Larry. What do you think of Spider-Man from the 90s, says the Ghost Legend? Well, that was the Spider-Man show that I grew up with. I was 6 when it came on TV. I had just turned 6. I had the video game. I had the toys. I loved it as a kid. I thought it was the best thing ever. I would watch Spider-Man every day it was on. As an adult, I still like it and respect it. There are a lot of really shitty production things about that that show. The reuse of the animation, which was in the Spider-Man 60 show. Very well aware of that. But Spider-Man, it looked so good in the first season, and then it looked so crappy towards the end. Same with X-Men. So the show really went downhill. And as a kid, it was kind of pissing me off because if you missed an episode, part of the story arc, you missed a chunk of it. So like, I remember as a kid, I kept getting stuck watching the fucking the Man-Spider episodes. Like, I couldn't get away from the Man-Spider episodes for such a long time. I hate the Man-Spider story arc, but whatever. That's just, my rant here. Oh, in Latin America, the 60s Spider-Man series had its own theme song. Many grew up with that and relate Spider-Man to it, same as in the U.S. I didn't know that. I did not know that whatsoever. That's kind of cool. I would love to hear. I'm gonna Google that later on today. I got stuff I got to do before we get to our live stream tonight, but that's something I am gonna do. So I'm gonna answer a few more questions, and I'm gonna close this out. So, Logan Michael, Toy Biz or Hasbro? Toy Biz had some great ingenuity, and they really revolutionized the toy industry with the Marvel Legends line. And I know that sounds a bit hyperbolic, like, oh, they revolutionized. No, they did. They brought in a lot of our standard articulation and a lot of good chase figures and variants. Toy Biz was really great. They brought in my favorite toy line, the Spider-Man 2002 film series toy line. I still stand by that as being the best Spider-Man figure in terms of accuracy, articulation, sculpt, all that good shit. But Hasbro, they're really doing good stuff with Marvel Legends now, too. And I know that they had poor distribution, but some of the new Star Wars figures that you're never going to see because of the garbage that clogged the shelves from The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rogue One, and, well, no, not Solo because they barely made anything, but they feature, like, face printing technology and realistic sculpts and stuff like that. So Hasbro's really trying to up their game because I heard word on the street is that the price of oil went down. So instead of dropping the price of their toys, they upped the quality to charge the same and make the toys better. So I don't know. Distribution aside, Hasbro's really pumping out some good stuff in terms of other brands outside of Star Wars. Their Star Wars license, whatever, just close it out. Mattel versus Kenner. I'm going to go Kenner. They did Batman. They did the original Star Wars. They did all kinds of great stuff. Kenner all the way. Plus, I live right by where Kenner was. So Kenner, even though it's been gone for a while, the Kenner effects are still felt locally in Cincinnati. Hell, we have a Kenner Street. So there you go. Peter Parker, how would I make a Spider-Man movie? I would have him be in college. I wouldn't really worry about retelling the origin or the juggling of... I'd have him juggle being a man and a superhero. I would keep the secret identity. I think a lot of the good drama comes from him not being able to tell people that he's Spider-Man. He has so many real-life problems that if he just said, hey, I'm Spider-Man, give me a break, people would go, oh my God, you do all these amazing things. You deserve whatever. I like that kind of drama. That's why I like Spider-Man 2 so much. If he could just tell Mary Jane that he's Spider-Man, then it would he could have her and he could do this, but he can't because he wants to protect her and all this stuff. So I like that kind of aspect of Spider-Man. Do I like the action and the adventure? Of course I do, but I really like the human drama behind Spider-Man. That's what Spider-Man is. It's a human drama wrapped up in a superhero story, and we're all humans. We all have had traumatic things happen to us, and I think we can relate to Peter Parker no matter what we look like. We can relate to Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I need to check out Green Lanterns. I will definitely look into that on my comic book website. That sounds like it could be some fun. Live action Spider-Man TV series possible in this SJW climate. I don't think we're going to see a Spider-Man live action series until Sony gives it up to Marvel 100% in terms of the agreement. I think a Spider-Man TV series work really well on a Netflix style thing where you have Spider-Man in every episode and he does stuff and it's like a long running story arc, but you have the money behind it because you have to have Spider-Man do Spider-Man thing. You don't need to have him fight the supervillains. What you do, here's how I would control it. You do Spider-Man on TV for months or years and you keep it rolling. He fights villains like the Shocker, Hammerhead, the Enforcers, Silvermane, all that kind of shit. And you tease the world being built in the background. This could be revolutionary. Then you build to a movie. You market the movie like a normal movie. You don't make the show required viewing. You make the show relatable to those who like the show. You can watch the movie and the shows independently, but if you watch both, you get a bigger experience. You get a bigger payoff. And then the movie pays off the show, and then whatever the cliffhanger or something, you can either wait for the next movie and get the whole story, or you can have the show go too. Like, you can keep Spider-Man going. He's one of the few superheroes that you can do that with, because there's so much ground level and crime, street level stuff that you can do with him. And if he's slightly older, it's not going to cause a problem. Like, why is Aunt May not watching him? See, that's why I hate little kid Spider-Man, because you have to, you have to always worry about those things, because people are folks like, why is his aunt letting him stay out till 4 a.m? See, that's why he shouldn't be 15 in the movies. He should be 20, where he's living on his own. So if he gets beat up and he's in an alley for 2 days, people are like, where have you been? Blah, 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 blah. And he tries to make an excuse. Oh, I was beaten up. I was mugged. I was this. I was that. There's just so much more drama you can do with Spider-Man. Tap and Die. Thank you very much. Sorry, couldn't resist making a Harvey joke last night. Episode 148 should be about Ving Rhames. I love Ving Rhames. Or as Joel calls him, Ving Ramies. So that's cool. Tap and Die. You don't have to apologize for the Steve Harvey joke. I kind of like it that it's a running joke. People go back and watch the episode now because of how much people like you keep it alive. So I appreciate that. And just go check out the Steve Harvey episode if you guys haven't. So, more from Vampiric Dust. Thank you very much, Vampiric Dust. I think the ST will be the first. The sequel trilogy will be the first Star Wars trilogy where the main Force-sensitive characters make it through without losing a limb. Spider-Man is awesome. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to lose a limb in these movies. I'm not saying you have to, but she had to face it. Like, a scratch on the head isn't enough. Maybe a broken bone or robot arms are cool. Like, I don't want one in real life, and nobody should have one in real life, but they're cool in movies because nobody loses a body part. They just get really big boo-boos. Spider-Man is awesome, and I'm glad that people have stuck around to listen to me gush about Spider-Man. I got so much to say about these characters that we could have weeks and weeks of content to talk about Marvel and DC characters and shit like that. So, I'm going to close this episode out. It's been a very good morning. Thank you to everyone who's watched. Thank you to everyone who's helped the World Class Bullshitter Studio get closer to becoming a reality. Appreciate that. Make sure you guys check out tonight's live stream where we watch Batman 89 with our good friend and patron Sills Will. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be like this. I want people to, if you're of age, grab a beer, sit down, watch the movie. If you're not old enough, you can still watch the movie. I don't know, grab a Jones Soda, one of those new Airheads flavored ones, and hang out with us. We're going to be talking Batman. You can bring your favorite Batman memories. You can bring your favorite Batman toy stories. I don't care. Let's make it about Batman. Make it about superheroes, DC. Tell us what you were doing in 89 if you were alive. If you weren't, you can tell us about how you found the film, what your thoughts are nowadays, and how Batman 89 is relevant in the modern day climate. So, you have a good day too, Mondi, and thanks to everyone who's watching, and I hope that our listener who's out in California right now is about to lay down and take a good nap, wake up, have some fun, and I I'll be back tomorrow morning with this, and make sure you guys bring your childhood memories, because we're gonna have a really fun episode about that. So until next time, aka like 11 hours from now, see you guys later.